University. The Bears getting ready to take on the Yellow Jackets of American International College here in Fairfield University. I am John Brober. I'm joined by Matt McCarthy from Rugby Wrap-Up and the contact coach, Craig Wilson, for this incredible matchup. Everything to play for, two undefeated teams. We're going to talk about that in just a second. Marty Steffens, your referee, ready to get us going. You see brown in brown and silver, the stripes are going to be running from left to right on your screen. And from right to left will be the Yellow Jackets of AIC wearing black and yellow. We're just about ready to get underway. Matt McCarthy, tell us a little bit about these two team seasons.
Well, John, you basically tipped it off. This is a battle of the unbeatens, and Brown, the upstarts, the turned over university quality side that they are under Dave Laflamme, and of course you got AIC shocking teams as well. So this is one where we had an earlier match, a battle for relegation between University of Buffalo and Colgate. This one's a battle of the unbeatens.
Absolutely. Thank you, Matt. Craig Wilson, the contact coach, contrasting styles. Two good teams. What are we looking for?
Yeah, just as you said, you got two physical teams that are going to go at it. First of all, you got Brown. They're going to look for set-piece dominance to lay the platform, but they will use the backs like Will Zeller. Then you got AIC. They prefer a bit less structure, so they're going to be very dangerous on the offloads, on the kicks, and the wide passes. I'm excited for this one.
First kickoff in white is AIC. They have committed a penalty early, and here comes Brown, player not 10. We'll see what the call is here. Referee Steffens going to have a quick conversation with AIC, not let him go. Good, smart play there by Brown. And AIC is back on their line. Marty Steffens going to be joined by Jared Ford. And Alana, the pride of Buffalo Gregory, right on their try line, is AIC to get this going. And we're ready to get underway. Captain Dan Archer, South African, wearing number 3 right there. And JT Dyer, Justin Dyer, is getting ready to go.
Yeah, John, you have that center doing your kicking, at least for touch. We'll see what happens for points. But you've covered Brown all season long. You know this team is really, really solid.
It's a solid team, man. You're absolutely right. They have a lot going on. They're pretty well balanced across the field. Good forwards. A lot of young players. They're 6 and 7 are freshmen out of London. Great international flavor. So this should be an interesting first line out for the Bears. You see in the red scrum cap, that's Oliver Corbett. Corbett up immediately. They're going to move this just down to the side. Brown trying to get the drive on. Very powerful AIC pack. AIC just shearing that away. It's going to start again. It's Dylan Lewis. Dylan Lewis looking for a runner. Estevez, the Portuguese age grade player. Played his high school rugby in England, takes that one. Dylan Lewis, Lance Noor from Aix-en-Provence, France, puts it in wide. Look at a runner coming out there. That is Campbell O'Connor. Campbell O'Connor, Chicago native. Dylan Lewis again looking across the field. Pot of forwards in the middle here. Coach T. Fletcher for AIC will have done some very good analysis on this Brown team. Expect AIC to be well aware of what they're going to go with right at first. As you see, one of those first-year flankers come right away. Dyer moves that one out quickly. Ball in hand. That's the captain, Archer. Archer barrels his way towards a try line here at Fairfield University, kindly hosting this event. There goes Lewis. Lewis finds another player, not 10. Smart player by the Rye, New York-based freshman. And again, Steffens going to pull this one up.
Yeah, just kind of inching them back, right, toward their own try line is he doing with AIC as Brown earns that early penalty, or a couple of them in a series, and that quick tap, as you called, John, was very smart. You know, these guys aren't all seniors or first-year students, or it's a mix. And you've got experience and youth on both these sides.
And that one, Craig Wilson, the contact coach, good play there, Brown. Keeping him in the ran, getting him in a little penalty trouble early. It's got to have a big effect on this team.
Yeah, they kept the ball really well. AIC actually had really good defense there. You'll notice the double tackles throughout. They've just got to keep taking out those penalties. It's going to give Brown momentum, but a good start from both teams overall.
Good line out here from Brown. Brown driving forward. You see Estevez there pulling him backwards. He was the man on the spot. They're looking at the try line. They've been strong from this area. Ball goes down to ground. However, Lewis looking for runners. Runner coming to the side there. Can he get across the line? And he does. Referee Steffens whistles our first try of the game. And the Brown Bears up 5-0. We'll go to the contact coach. Very effective right there.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first maul they did a few moments before, they just sheared it to the right. This time they just brought it down. AIC got a good initial hit, but it was the pressure on.
Craig, tell us about this replay here. Let's take a look.
Well, it was just all from that maul, and it was just that pressure, and they just kept composure. AIC stopped it really well, but they organized left. They got the drive on, and they got the reward. Great start from Brown.
So we didn't get that. Lonsanor is going to line this one up. This one's from pretty straight in front here. We're on a multi-line field here, so a little bit different here at Fairfield University, Rafferty Stadium, Fairfield, Connecticut. Thank you so much from Liberty Rugby Conference to Fairfield University. Austin Ryan, Director of Rugby, getting this whole day set up. We've seen some great rugby as these teams play for the road to Houston. We'll talk about that in just a second with Matt McCarthy from Rugby Wrap-Up. Lonsanor slots that one. Assistant referees are happy with it. And Matt, these two teams are on the road to Houston in the National Collegiate Rugby Playoffs. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's just another great event emerging on the college rugby landscape that we haven't had in previous. Well, we've had it in previous years, but it's continuing and it's growing exponentially. The NCR is growing. We're getting a little bit of unity, perhaps, on the college rugby landscape, was just as a good thing and serves these players well because you like to see them all play against each other.
AIC hang the high one into the Fairfield evening there. They're going to need to get themselves on the board. They've been under pressure for these first few minutes of this game. On the move again are Brown. It is 7-0 to Brown. And they are looking to extend this. Lonsanor has a very good boot. Played his high school rugby in Singapore, Lonsanor. Ball comes down. They're inside the Brown half. A lot of speed on this AIC team along with power. Brown trying to hold them up for the maul in the middle of the field. This doesn't materialize. It will be a Brown scrum, which has been a big power point of their game. Referee Steffens right on the mark there, but ball comes back to AIC. AIC on the move. Ball to the back there to Tenorio Toves. The scrum half. He's got players on him. Brown turns that one over. Lewis looking quickly. Corbett on the spot. Corbett runs around the outside. The Harlequins Academy player. One of the more vaunted players in the States at the moment. Lonsanor shows one way, goes the other. He is not the biggest fella on the field, but he's certainly shifty and can make things happen. We have a penalty now against AIC. We'll go to the contact coach. Brown has been very effective offense and defense so far.
Yeah, they sure have. That was a good exit. You can see they were nearly had them all held up. They were putting AIC under pressure, and they've drawn the third penalty already. This is exactly what Brown wants. They want penalties. They can kick it into the corner. They can get their driving ball going.
And John, you mentioned Lonsanor. He's the Frenchman. You've got such an international flavor here. You've got players from Portugal, England, France. You've got South Africa, Guam, and Buenos Aires between both teams. It's just adding so much for a college player's experience to be playing with these kinds of players.
And the sophomore Cortabaria twins are Uruguayan-born. Grew up, played in Florida, Key Biscayne for their high school rugby. Went to Belen Jesuit, so certainly an international flavor there. We got a player down and out of play for AIC. We may have to stop. Hopefully he's okay. Referee Steffens is going to whistle that one up, and we have a player down for AIC. We're going to hold off and see if he's okay. Brown's trainer Kelly is coming out on the field.
Well, he did move his hands right to his head, which is always a good sign. Maybe you got his bell rung a little bit, as we say in the game. But all indications are that he is okay. And that's
seems to be
always
Jaden
good.
Renahan, the junior from Southington, Connecticut. Played for Southington High School. He is okay.
You see the American international players taking a knee as they await what's happening here. But again, these two teams undefeated, John, and it's this is where they get to test each other against the best right here. And the winner out of this will have some confidence going into Houston, and that's going to be some event. So if you can, ladies and gentlemen, get down to Houston for the NCR weekend.
Second week of December will be those finals at Aviva Stadium, Houston, home of the Houston SaberCats. Let's talk a little about today while we wait for this player to get attended to, Matt McCarthy. We have had quite a day of rugby here at Fairfield University. 3 different fields, lots of great games, and we have a semifinal coming up after this I was going to get to, but great games on today. What stuck out for you?
Well, it was the start for me was the 9:45 a.m. Colgate versus University of Buffalo relegation match. Both teams in D1. The loser was going to go to D1 AA, and I thought that my University at Buffalo team was going to win it with an upfront battle, and they were taken to school by Colgate. Dave Chapman's team survived one adversity after the next, one penalty after the next, multiple yellow cards in the first half to come back and absolutely annihilate UB in the second half. And it was just stunning. 2 teams that weathered first half storms today, Ireland versus South Africa, and Colgate versus the University of Buffalo. Just great
Now
rugby
we're talking
all across
international rugby. We'll talk about some more of that coming up. So we take another look here. Here's that driving try from Brown. What's effective here, Craig Wilson?
So what they did really well from a Brown point of view, it was brought down excellently by AIC, but just watch how they reloaded. They got boys around the ball. They were connected, and it was 3 players driving that player in for the try. And it's just really a well-oiled machine so far from Brown.
And some more of the games today. We had Yale versus Albany. Yale, a convincing win. A team really on the up, this Yale Bulldogs team. They beat Harvard this year, a perennial rival, one of the oldest matchups in America. But right now, Harvard's playing in D1, and D1 AA is Yale. So they beat a team, the division above them. So things look very sharp for them. You have Northeastern overtook Fordham. Hometown Fairfield beat Dartmouth. They were both number 2 behind AIC and Brown. So big win, 40-29 there for the Fairfield Stags under Austin Ryan. Great things building there. Iona beat Nazareth in a very contested match. And Matt, Stony Brook versus BC. It was BC all the way.
Yeah, those Eagles flying high, Claude. That their counterparts, but John, even across the board, and I'm sure that I might get a little flack for talking about this, but Davenport beat Life. So we've had all these upstates here today, where you could call them. Can you call them upstates? We're just finding out upsets. We're finding out about these teams. Yep. Yeah, not upstates, so upsets. And Fairfield, you got to tip your cap to Austin Ryan.
Austin Ryan, fantastic job with this Fairfield program, really building. He has got a lot of programs around to look up to. Here's that powerful Brown scrum, just pouring it on. It's a penalty machine, the Brown scrum. And they're going to go quick through Dylan Lewis again. Dylan Lewis looking down the left-hand side. Hauled near touch eventually. Ball still alive. Up there to Corbett. Lonson-Noor out wide now. Brown going quick, has to reset their cross-field system. Get the ball up there to Cameron McAlpine. A good hit from AIC. AIC on the move right now. And penalty against Brown. And what's good for the Goose is good for the Gander. They're going to go quick there. That's Tenorio Tovez off the back. But not a penalty. Oh, and there's a penalty against Brown right there. They're going to have to slow this one down. A chance to move it downfield. Good work there by AIC. Really starting to come to life here. Greg.
Yeah, all came. We showed signs of it earlier with the defensive line speed. That was all through defensive pressure. They got in the face. Brown's not used to it. Remember, Brown have been winning a lot of their games quite handedly. So a bit of line speed, bit of pressure, turnover, penalty, and now they're 50 meters down the field.
7-0 Brown. They're inside their own zone now. Estevez has been very good defensively in the line out here. We'll see if they put him up. Good power. Probably a bit more size in the Yellow Jacket set of forwards here. T. Fletcher maybe looking to answer a try with a maul. We'll see how this one looks as the ball comes out from Liam Collins. And
who was that
to,
John?
Messy there. Not exactly sure who that was to, but one way or the other, we're going to have a scrum here for Brown. Their preferred set piece. Very powerful, as we said, that front row of Henry Gabriel, Joe Ahasso, and Dan Archer taking on big Afasant, Liam Collins, and Joseph Allard. This should be a battle throughout the evening.
Yeah, and Archer and Gabriel look pretty similar. right? It looked like they were separated at birth.
They do look a bit similar.
And
One
just
is
what you
first
want
year,
a prop
one
to
is
look
senior.
like.
Yeah, they are pretty much the definition of props. If you look in the dictionary, they definitely have that look. I call a bit of games up there, so lucky to get to know those guys. Two nice fellows as well. Good power coming in. Always looking forward. Good strength here from the team, but it's popped up. They get that penalty advantage. Liam Collins pops up there. And we're going to go to the contact coach, Craig Wilson. This powerful scrum, it really just it's a mental thing against a team that's on the receiving end of it, and they keep pushing like that. It has a big effect in the overall of the game.
Absolutely. So that's two scrum penalties from only 2 scrums. That's pretty devastating from an AIC point of view. And Brown is just like a well-oiled machine right now. They're going to kick down into their line out. This is exactly what they're looking for.
See, assistant referee Jared Ford sets the mark down there. It will be a line out for the Brown Bears. See,
Interesting
McAlpine,
setup what they have here with the
Spielman.
lineup. Well,
They're gonna go
that's good. The pitch clock in Major League Baseball, that would be a violation for next year on that one.
Good work there by AIC to hold that one back, but it gets knocked down eventually. So it'll be a scrum here to Brown. Some words off the ball. Brown, very passionate players here. I'm not sure they want to get into a tussle with these AIC boys, Craig.
Well, no, that's a big, big win for AIC. We've been talking at Brown's line out, but they've showed a weakness there. AIC got the turnover. Unfortunately, a slight knock on, so they have to deal with a scrum now. Let's see how they do.
All credit to AIC. Very smart coaching. T. Fletcher doing a wonderful job as director of rugby and head coach up there. I'm going to be lucky enough to call the NYRA NCAA Women's Championships this year. AIC, I called them last year, one of the better games I remember in a while. Certainly a lot of fun to call. Great coach, great analysis, and certainly picking apart that Brown lineout. As a referee, Stefan's going to bring us up, make sure everything's cool here. And Brown ready to get back at it. AIC, probably one of the tougher scrums they would have faced this year, Craig.
Oh, absolutely, without doubt. Brown, arguably in the nation. They've got such a great scrum. Really interested to see how this one's going to pan out.
And John, you saw it just before that, the 2 scrum halves like flailing at each other slightly on the far side of that scrum. It was like handbags at dawn.
Pesky scrum halves, Matt. We know what that's all about as the penalty comes in right away. Another scrum penalty for Brown. Such an area of possession for this team. And JT Dyer steps up. Last week, this team beat Dartmouth in the first round of the playoffs and had beaten the week before for the Ivy League championships. JT Dyer, a big kicker on this team, a sophomore, was away with ROTC military duties. Campbell O'Connor stepped in the outside slot, but they were missing this educated boot of the California-born Dyer. As you see AIC lining up there, awaiting what's coming in. Raheem Ridor, the number 8.
And John, it's interesting to see how the kicking duties are divvied up on some of these squads, right? One guy's kicking for touch, one guy's kicking for points, and sometimes that can change in terms of who's got the bigger boot, who's got the left-footed boot, right-footed boot, etc.
Estevez has to go up for one hand and gets that one down. Ball bounces off the ground. Here comes the captain, Archer. Archer gets that one in. Zeller has to get that. Look into the wing there. They go out through Lansanor. Dragged towards the touchline, but able to keep this one in. Ball taken away, however, by AIC. And it's a penalty there. Seems against AIC, so going to be a ball to Lansanor. Archer, the captain, trying to keep everybody cool. He's got some boys that want to run all the time. He has to calm them down every now and again. We'll see what the decision is here. And it looks like he's wasting no time to call a scrum. Happy to have the penalty. Craig, also, I've called a couple games this year where Brown has been able to just take players out of the game on the other team with the yellow cards. Eventually, this pressure in the scrum results in somebody off the field, and it's just an added issue coming down.
I was thinking exactly the same, John. That's 7 penalties now. If I was the Brown captain, I'd be having a quick word in the ear of a referee because a yellow card, it's got to come soon.
Against Dartmouth, they had both other props yellow carded. in the Ivy League championship game.
It's so difficult to stop. They do it really well. But AIC have got to find a way. First of all, get a bit of territory, get a bit of ball, and let's hope they can get back into this game quickly.
Hey, man, that was home field advantage for Fairfield getting those calls, right?
Certainly was. And the drive comes forward. No arm out yet. There it is. The penalty is on. Lewis looking for that ball. Estevez lets it go, and that ball comes out in the middle of the field. A little wraparound there as they bring in Aaron Mertzel. Looking for it again is Lewis. He's got Oliver Corbett. Corbett gets it just a bit behind him. Can't find the pass. Estevez is cleaning it up. Lewis going to come back to the left-hand side. Lansanura gets it to the middle of the field. Big bash and run. Good hit from AIC. That physicality coming out. They'll need a bit of that. Here's Henry Gabriel, the number 1 first-year player, and another penalty against AIC.
From his knees, a great tackle by Rakeem Rador for AIC on that last sequence, John.
That certainly was. AIC up defensively, have to lay in some big hits, and they're Craig, coming to another scrum.
Yeah, so it's really interesting for AIC. If Brown have to go into a phase count of 1, 2, 3, 4, AIC's defense is holding pretty firm. It's these early phases, particularly from set piece, that's where the trouble's starting. So for AIC's point of view, if they can just make sure that Brown are getting into their phase count, they've got a chance here.
That's some great analysis right there, ladies and gentlemen.
That's what the contact coach is for. Analysis is what it is. The contact coach, you can catch him on Instagram and every other social media. Doing some work for National Collegiate Rugby as well. That one goes down. Estevez has the ball, but the referee is just going to reset it here. AIC looking to solidify their scrum. Referee Steffens coming around the other side.
You still didn't answer my question on the shot clock on throw-ins.
Oh, yeah, we'd have to get back to that one. I think there should be some kind of time clock on that. They're trying to get the players to speed up right now. So throw-in should have to happen pretty quick. Here's the powerful scrum. You see the front row for AIC coming up. They've got the arm out there. They're driving towards the line. They're going to have to move this one. They do have the penalty advantage. The referee's going to bring it up. And that's gone. Arm up in the air. We may be about to see a card here. And a reserve prop would probably have to be brought on the field. We'll wait and see what happens here. Matt McCarthy, powerful scrum. It is a dominant weapon for this Brown team. 20 minutes into this game, it's really showing a yellow card. That's going to have a big effect on this Yellow Jacket side.
Yeah, you just lost Afa Sant, the 6 foot, who knows how much he weighs, loose head prop. You know, we don't have the weights for AIC. We have the weights for Brown, and you can see the front row for Brown is kind of that new age, in shape, hybrid front row, hooker, prop, whereas you got a little bit of the old school look with AC, the beefier guys, the bigger guys, the Kyle Sequeiras, if you will, of New England Free Jacks fame. But either way, it's just making for a great matchup. But you certainly do not want to lose a prop to a yellow card.
Afasant from East Palo Alto. 6 foot 289. If you go to the roster, and we have another penalty coming, or another set coming, excuse me.
That's about 20 stone, John.
That is about 20 stone. That's a big fella.
Yeah. And so we've got diagrams now. This is getting fancy.
We have multiple fields going on out there. The drone shot does give us a wonderful look here. See the scrum coming back together. They've got a replacement in the front row. Does AIC. Going to bring it back up here as referee Steffens. 10 minutes in the bin for the AIC player. Making life a bit difficult for the Yellow Jackets here. Haven't got to call many of these great players in the Yellow Jackets. Love to see them get a little head of steam here. They certainly have some talented players across the board.
I gotta go back to that Colgate University of Buffalo match. This is eerily similar, and Colgate seemed like they were going to cave all the time. They had players in the sin bin multiple times, and they ended up leading at the half 7-3, and then just blew the doors off the opponent. I'm not saying that AIC is going to do that here, to Brown.
And now we have the penalty try. 7 points automatically. Potentially another card. Referee has put his watch down there. Brown players getting a bit of a wrestle here. They're very pleased, you can see. We're going to have a kickoff for the Yellow Jackets. Automatic 7 points here. Oliver Corbett having a couple of words with one of the AIC players. But that'll put Brown at 14 here at Rafferty Stadium, Fairfield University, host to this great Liberty Rugby Conference weekend. Referee Steffens just had a word, so we're going to have a kickoff here. Comes from Herman Rossi. Herman Rossi, the freshman, first-year player from Buenos Aires, went to Brick Towers College for high school.
And John, you always have that little angst between the Brit and the Argentinian.
They're certainly passionate countries. The ball comes down to Estevez. So we add a Portuguese player to the mix. Very international flavor out here. Good players across AIC from across the country and across the world. And that one, a little miscue.
And this is just going to eat the clock. And if I'm AIC, I'm very content on just taking my time here. Let some time run off the clock. Let's see what we're going to do. Have a chat. Let the referee give us a little instruction. Get those ticks off of that yellow card, because that's really, really crucial right now.
Interesting that AIC has brought Kalanivalu up to the front row from the second row. 6 foot 245 is that junior second row. So Craig, a little different. They're just bringing another tight 5 player up front.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Scrums have been struggling with 8 men, so it's interesting to see now how they're going to go with 7. But if they can just get the ball in and out, we may have a chance to see the attack. But the pressure comes on. Oh, and they got the penalty this time.
They've got the penalty, early drive there, driving on an angle from this Brown team. So a penalty against Brown, which has been a while coming. So we'll see what AIC decides to do with this. Just 2 tries in at Matt McCarthy. It's 14-0. Opportunity here for AIC to either move the chains and push this one towards the corner, go for the line out, or go for a penalty kick. I would imagine they're going to try to run this.
I guess you're going to try to wear down that clock, but I would argue that it's not 7 guys in that scrum. With the weight of some of these guys, it's more like 7.5 in that scrum going against it. There's an example of it right there.
Yeah, Kalanivalu right there. He's a big boy. Another penalty comes up there. They're running towards the line. They are certainly here to play. That's Tenorio Toves, but they're going to come back. Referee says they weren't quite at the mark there. So referee Steffen's going to bring them back.
And T. Fletcher has to be really happy right now with this penalty kill, as we call it in ice hockey. But, they're just taking their time. They're earning penalties. And, again, they're down a person. Maybe they go for the post or not. Penalty. No.
They've been over these set penalties, old school penalty plays here. Got to love it. Doesn't go to Kalanivalu. They go out to the other side. They move it towards that wing, but they have some runners coming in if they need it. And yet another not rolling away penalty against Brown here. Now Brown has to be careful. 26.5 minutes gone. Dan Archer going to come out and have a conversation. The Johannesburg, South Africa-born senior and captain for this Brown team, Kalanivalu. I think he's only got one idea in his mind right now, and it's going directly that way. Going to try to drag some players over with him. He's there and touches it down. Kalanivalu, a short-handed AIC, touches it down, and that is a big mental bonus for this AIC team. Craig.
Absolutely. We said at the start of the show it was going to be a clash of styles, from Brown set piece to AIC wanting to keep the ball in hand. They've had a little bit of possession. They drew some penalties. They got their big boys running at the play, and there's no way you're going to stop that. And just a little bit of detail. Just watch how he spun out of the tackle. That makes it really hard to stop. Brilliant try from AIC.
Kalanivalu from Oakland, California, played for La Marinda. He grew up in Tonga, so he's been playing rugby since a very young age. Tremendous try there from the big fellas. Points on the board. T. Fletcher will be very happy with that. And AIC showing that this is not going to be a one-sided game. Despite some of the Brown dominance in the scrum and other areas, they're certainly here to play and know if they're going to get there, it's got to be through physicality, Matt.
Absolutely. And just watching some of these players, John, it's just, I can't help but think of tomorrow's match for Team USA in the repechage, where some of these players will be representing our nation not long. And there's the kick, and it's up, and it's good. Wow, what a conversion.
14-7, just under 10 minutes to go in this first half. Here at the Liberty Conference Championship, we are on the road to Houston, the road to the National Collegiate Rugby Finals. This next level rugby production, bringing you all this action all day. We're excited to bring you this match. And stay with us for Binghamton versus UMass after this, which is a semifinal in D1AA. Another great matchup, 9 p.m. tonight here from beautiful Rafferty Stadium. If you can stay up past my bedtime, you may be able to catch that one. Ball up there. Nice kickoff, taken down by Brown, immediately answering. Lewis looking for some runners, finds Gabriel. Gabriel steps back in. He's a unit. He has played as a flanker for Portuguese age grade teams.
Yeah, there are some big units on that pitch. And when you're down on the pitch standing next to them, you understand the difference in the size from previous decades, perhaps, or generations.
Yeah, really important that when you score points, it's really vital that you receive that kickoff and get a strong exit. Unfortunately, AIC do not do that. It looks like we're going to be staring down a scrum again. So for AIC's point of view, they'll be looking to lock this one out, steady the ship, and keep this score at 14-7.
Such a tough moment when an offensive scrum is almost a defensive scrum here. I mean, this is going to be Brown's put in. It looks like it's around that side. But either side of the ball, AIC under the cosh at this very vital part of the game. As you see, Lewis set to put this one in. Dylan Lewis, the sophomore from Rye High School. Played a lot of programming in that Westchester, New York area. Here comes that power. You see just that flat technique coming across there. Players breaking away immediately. Will the arm come up? It does. Estevez looking for that ball. Ball still alive. They have the penalty advantage. Lewis looking for runners. Little pick and go there. Ball works the way back. Player off his feet there for AIC, but a little immaterial to what the play was going. Estevez standing next to Lewis. They put that one out to Lonsanur. Lonsanur is going to go for the kick pass. Remember, they have a free play here if they can pick this one up. Ball comes down into the hands of Cortabaria, the Belen Jesuit graduate. Lewis comes around, looks for Lonsanur. Lewis hangs onto it, as scrum halves do near the try line. Another arm out there for player not rolling away from AIC. Referee Steffen's going to whistle this one up. We'll see what they decide to do. Lewis has been happy to go quick, but they're going to calm down right here. And referee Steffen's going to offer him penalty here or penalty there.
Once again, you see AIC, once the phase count gets higher, the defense is holding firm. It's just those penalties are starting to creep in now, and it's just really difficult. But there's some good stuff from AIC if they can just take out those penalties.
Matt Brown has invited AIC back for another scrum here. Brown certainly want to continue to stamp their authority here. Good moment for this team, good attacking position.
And Brown had that opportunity playing the advantage to maybe go wide and score that try, but a great open field tackle by the number 12, Juan Pablo Barzi, for AIC. Saved a sure try.
Barzi started playing rugby at the Buenos Aires Rugby and Cricket Club. Big push coming on, but referee's just going to set this one back down for Brown. 8 minutes to go on the game clock. There could be some referee's time here. 14-7, Brown leads here in the Liberty Conference Division I championship match. As the player returns from yellow card, his teammate's happy to wave him back, Greg.
Yeah, for that 10-minute period, it's 7-7. Okay, so with the man in the bin, they managed to get their own try, but they did concede, so a net 0. So AIC can build on that.
And John, again, this international flavor of players that we keep mentioning, it's got to make the American players that much better. Having this experience with guys that have been playing top level or higher level rugby from the day they were born.
It certainly has for both these teams. Some of the Brown players have come in. Bit of space to the right-hand side for Estevez. Estevez has scored 5 tries or more in 2 different games this season from the number 8. So we'll see if he decides to go in this one. But that scrum's going down. Referee Steffens is going to bring it back up. Obviously, Brown has moved their wing out there and just showing that room on the outside. See if one of their flankers, Martinez or Fatai, can cover this side if Estevez decides to go.
And John, you've been around him enough, and I've been around him to know that Estevez can tend to be a little bit of a trash talker on the pitch.
He is, I like to call it passionate because I try to be a little neutral about it, but, you can call it what you like.
I'll call it trash talk.
Big drop coming here from the Brown Bears right over the line. They're looking, but taken away by AIC. AIC gets away with a good one there on their own line. Starting to reassemble here. A little pick and go. Looking towards a touchline they are. Referee in the spot for that one. They're going to move it across quickly. It goes from Herman Rossi in the middle of the field. This is that speed on the wing that they have. Big run here for AIC. Collision coming out. That was Patrick Macklin. Macklin kind of slid in that contact. Nothing there. The junior from Mishawaka, Indiana. Here they continue to use this touch line, and this is a dangerous place for AIC. These players, when they get up to width, they're tremendous. Little bobble back there by Rossi. Brown just pouring it on there. Players looking for some kind of a penalty from Brown, but not coming. Ball moved away by Tenorio Toves. Another pass goes in behind him. A little chip forward by Oliver Corbett. Oliver Corbett gets tackled off the ball.
We could see a penalty try here.
That should be a penalty try, but referee's going to bring it back for a knock-on. Bit surprised.
Wow. And that whole sequence was started by a great tackle by Atlas Fa'afetai. He just smoked the number 7 for Colgate. He smoked the runner, and then that turned the whole tide of events.
Certainly did. Brown on their heels there. We're going to come back for an original knock-on. I guess that, Craig, that penalty try not coming there for a tackle off the ball. There was an earlier knock-on.
Yeah, but what you did see is AIC really giving it a go. They were not afraid, even though they were on their own try line, to give it a go, and they got the ball out to the wing. They created an opportunity. Brown managed to get the defense back and win the ball back. So this is pretty exciting if the game stays like this.
And just piggybacking what Craig said, it's got to be a mental boost because you're still a man down.
They still are a player down. Ball to come in from Brown. Lewis set to put this one in. A little more swagger there in that scrum from AIC. You saw him moving as Estevez gets it to Lewis. Lewis to Lontanor. Runner coming around the back. Big hit coming in on Dyer. Move coming in. Campbell O'Connor is going to step back in field. Nearly has that ball ripped away. Lontanor recovers it, but ripped away by AIC. So knock on against Brown. Scrum for AIC deep in their own zone. Craig, they'll want this one to be a nice, strong, stable set.
Oh, absolutely. But let's give credit to the AIC defense. It's the first time that Brown took the ball out wide. They covered it. They saw the man out the back. Defense covered that space, got the tackle, got the turnover. There's some really good moments from AIC right now.
Yellow card back in. We're full strength here. So we are good to go. Full strength game. Just a couple minutes left. Very tight here in the D1 Championship for the Liberty Conference. Now, Matt,
it's been a great half.
Brown, it has been a great half, Matt, but a lot of big scores put up by Brown. A little tighter during the season for AIC, but I think they've really built to this moment and they've had tougher games. So AIC really in it right now. As AIC moves it out to the wing. Here's one of their danger runners. A big hit from Zeller coming in. Ball comes across in the middle of the field. Brown turns that one over. Good work on the breakdown. Lewis looking for runners. He's got Ollie Corbett with him. Gets that ball to Estevez. Estevez steps 1 or 2. We have a penalty coming here. And a player looks like he's down in a bit of trouble here for AIC. That is Patrick Macklin. So we're just going to lay up here for a second as they attend to this player. Just a bit of an awkward contact there.
Yeah, you don't want to lose a player like Macklin who's got that explosive home run hitter power or ability, especially when you're on the front foot with some great defense and only trailing by 7 despite that yellow card.
Macklin, the criminal justice major, played at Penn High School, one of the powerhouse high school programs in the country. in Indiana. We'll all hope he is okay. The AIC fans. AIC sent a fan bus down from Springfield, Massachusetts for this one, Matt. So the school is certainly in behind them and in it to win it here.
Yeah, it's great. And, when the fans and especially the alumni get behind these teams, you can see the success, the turn of fate for these programs in a short time. Brown's a perfect example of that, but the hosts, Fairfield, are a perfect example of that. And they have exciting news because they're going to be building out this facility into a proper state-of-the-art rugby facility, are the alumni.
That is excellent news. Macklin is up and going off the field. He's obviously in a bit of bother there. We wish the best to the young man. What a tremendous game so far. We'll be back to the action. His teammates will want to be playing to make him proud. AIC players back up.
And John, if I'm not mistaken, in the college game, there is no HIA. There is no head assessment or head injury assessment. It's just if you're off with a head knock, you're out.
He should be off for the remainder, absolutely, as referee and assistant referee confer. Just a word with Redor and Rossi. Redor, the captain of the team from Weymouth, Mass., captain of Weymouth High School Rugby.
Former home of the New England Free Jacks before they moved to Quincy.
Certainly was.
We had many good adventures there, standing on lifts, doing games, in a tent, you name it.
We did some interesting games there, Matt. We certainly did. Weymouth, Union Point, interesting place to call some rugby games. Now the team in Quincy.
Used to get chilly with that wind in that facility, if I remember correctly.
It had an unusual wind, as it looks like Brown being pushed back here. So penalty to AIC. Chance to shift the field a little bit, move it down. Referee bringing time back in. AIC penalty here at Rafferty Stadium. Fairfield University, home of the Stags, as we said, playing host to this great event. They've moved that one down. It'll be their line out. Line out, a strength for the AIC team so far. Running late in this first half, Craig. Be great for them to tie it up before half. They need to put it on from this good platform.
Yeah, so this is their second line out of the half. The first one didn't go to plan. So it'd be interesting to see how this one goes, as you said, so they can lay a platform and really get after this Brown.
Corbett in front of it, but ball comes back up, taken down well by Kane Johnson. Referee spots not straight, I believe, so opportunity here for Brown. If they want to line out or a scrum, I think it's pretty obvious what they were going to choose there. So scrum here for Brown, Matt, late in the first half. They would also love to extend their lead a little bit. They're not used to being this close in the game for most of the season.
I'm scratching my head a bit about the choice there to take the scrum down, specifically with these bigger guys of AIC showing that they are formidable with that push. It'd be interesting to see if AIC can turn the ball over here.
We'll see if they can. They're going to need a strong one. AIC has been on the receiving end a lot of these scrums so far, so they would have to turn it around quite a bit to pull their own penalty. See Lewis ready to put the ball in again. Lewis, the sophomore, as we said. Number of young players in this team.
It's a great shot from our next level camera crew.
Right now, only 2 seniors on the field for this Brown team as they look for another penalty. Driving AIC back, that is Splinter. They have the penalty coming. Lance and Norm, who's out of the midfield. A little misdirection. Looking for some runners from Mertzel. Mertzel gets to Cortabaria. Cortabaria, converted flanker. Looks like he's made as rubber occasionally as he squirts through a lot of that contact. But they're going to come back to another scrum penalty.
And off of those scrums, some great pressure from Tenorio Tovis, the number 9 for AIC, pressuring Dylan Lewis constantly. The little scrum half battle has been pretty cool so far.
Well, it's a battle within a battle all the time. You see Dyer lining up to take this one and push it downfield. We're at 43 minutes in the game clock, which means we're 3 minutes into referee's time here. The referee, ultimate decision maker here. Brown pushes it downfield, so they'll have a late line out. Opportunity for some points here. Rolling close to halftime, but there could be a couple more minutes. We've had a couple of injuries that have taken up a little bit of time.
I'm learning how to choose the right audio apps for you. Which one do you want to use to listen to this?
That was one of those subliminal advertisements that
It certainly seemed that way. It registered on my Siri on my watch. I don't know where it came from. We've been audio bombed, I guess. And in we come for the line out, 5-man line out as they've been working, just walking into it. Got a number of options. They go straight to Estevez. Estevez comes to the ground. Good drive coming on. Body's nice and low for the Bears. Trying to pull it down as AIC and have done so successfully. Ball out to Lonsanur. Lonsanur loses that one. Doesn't happen very often to him. Player from AIC rolls back on the right side, looking for some work inside of that contact, trying to take it away. Good opportunity, but taken back by Brown. Have had to commit some more people to that ruck, so they're going to have to move this one to one of the big waiting second rows. I think that was Brett Geis takes that, and we're going to have a penalty here against AIC for a player with hands in that contact area. We'll see what they decide to do here. May take a shot at Poets with Lonsanur late in the half, or look for another try in the corner.
don't get greedy. Take the points.
Then they're going to listen to Matt McCarthy and take the points here, or take the shot at points. Lonsanur, this should be within his range. Good opportunity for him.
In a way, I think that's a feather in the cap to AIC and their defense. Once Brown has been getting away from their set piece, they haven't looked as convincing. So that's something going into halftime AIC can really hang their hat on. Potentially with this point going over, a 10-point game, AIC are still well in this match.
Lonsanur, the sophomore, lines this one up.
He's got a lot going on with that body movement.
He always makes sure his hair is okay, Matt, so that's important when he's got his little pre-kick move here. But just eyeing out the post is Lonsanur. Every kicker has their own little ritual. Steps in. Lonsanur has the distance and has the accuracy. 17-7. 45 minutes gone. A referee whistles for the end of the first half here as an extended lead there. 17-7 from Brown. Craig Wilson, the contact coach, final thoughts in the first half.
Yeah, it was a good contest. I think Brown have got to tidy up what they're doing in the backs, but their set piece is doing way enough for them to be comfortable right now. But AIC can get themselves back into this if they just keep possession.
It's the Liberty Conference Final. We're on the road to Houston. It's an exciting matchup. Next Level Rugby, we're going to step away for halftime. We'll be back with second half action. Stay with us. Welcome back to Fairfield University. We are in Fairfield, Connecticut. It is the Liberty Rugby Conference D1 Championship game. It is a tight matchup. You see AIC, the Yellow Jackets in white, going to be running from left to right on your screen. Out to come in brown and silver. The Stripes is the Bears of brown, both undefeated teams. A lot to play for, a bit of a lead, bit of ascendancy in the scrums here for Brown at the moment. But AIC has a lot to be happy about in that first half. Craig Wilson, the contact coach, what do they need to do? What is T. Fletcher telling them the second half is all about?
They showed real moments when they moved the ball to the wider channels, how threatening they could look. Maybe a couple of kicks over behind just to start testing that backfield. That's where I would be aiming to attack.
Referee Steffens ready to get us going for this second half. We'll talk to Matt McCarthy from Rugby Wrap Up about what Brown is going to do in the second half. As a little high chip comes up in the air, well taken by Estevez, the number 8. Gets the ball to the ground. Player's got a release there from AIC and does. Ball down to the ground. Ollie Corbett immediately finds a seam there to run into. Ollie Corbett, tremendous player from the wrong side from AIC, but referee didn't notice it, so we're going to keep playing. Lots of new one was the Zeller, the inside center. Haven't seen a ton of the senior in this game. Very physical center, and there's that kick downfield, rolls through. We're going to go back for a scrum. And let's go to that Brown halftime conversation from Coach Dave LaFlamme. Matt McCarthy, what is Coach LaFlamme telling his players?
Well, I think the first thing that he probably did is he took a wiffle ball bat to a water cooler because he wanted to make it a statement but not really break anything. And after that, I think he's got to say to his guys, hey, listen, we're getting beaten in the little battles. We were a man up, or a player up, and we did not take advantage of that. They've got some big boys up front, but we're talented. Let's go play our game. Don't let them take the game to us.
You've heard it from Matt McCarthy. It's going to be a battle of wills in the second half. Ball down for AIC after that one rolled through the try zone. They're going to keep playing here as they move it just a little wider. Brown trying to cover the width of the field here. Nice inside line there. The big bump off. Alpha Sant gets that one. Some speed coming from AIC here. AIC gets hold of that ball. Ball spills forward. Referee saw an initial knock on from Brown. So we're going to scrum here for AIC. They're certainly trying to have a run as.
Yeah, John, it looks like Liam Brannon is in. He might have been the one that came in for Patrick Macklin. So we'll just keep an eye on that.
Scrum for AIC. Brown having the better of the scrum battle so far. So this will be an opportunity for them to make a statement 2 minutes into the second half, Craig.
Yes, so again from AIC, lovely attack there. You can see what they can do when they have go forward ball. The offloading game can start to kick in, and that just adds to the momentum. So real positive signs from AIC there.
Referee bringing that one back up. Redor at the back, just having a conversation with a couple of his players. Tenorio Toves. Set to put this one in. Referee Steffens just wants to make sure everything is clean and safe here. And we are set together with a scrum. Ball to the back. AIC. Ball squirts out the side, but a penalty against Brown. Referee is going to bring it back. Didn't see exactly what happened there, but he wants him to take it from the mark.
Tenorio Tovis taking it off the back of that scrum or that quick tap. And we're not seeing referees on the American landscape be very forgiving with that, with the mark, because you saw Andy Ellis, of all people, with Rugby New York all season long try to take that quick tap and not get away with it.
Pushing it downfield is AIC. Opportunity for a line out here. They haven't had too many this game, Craig, but this could be a critical one for them.
Yeah, they've had 2 lineouts so far. They definitely haven't went to plan for AIC. This is a really big moment in this game. If they can get this secured and they can get their attacking play going, we've got something really exciting ahead of us. So let's see how this one pans out.
10 points in it, 17-7 for the Bears.
This is a big play right now, a big sequence right here in this match.
Liam Collins has the ball. the sophomore management major from Boston, Hingham High School. Played for Hingham Rugby Club in high school. Ball goes back. Corbett tries to go over and take that one, but ball is not straight. The pressure on the hooker there. Opportunity here for Brown for a scrum or a lineout. One would have to imagine, and they are going to take this lineout here. Is it the pressure, Craig, from the defensive lineout that forced that little nerves there on the hooker?
Yeah, well, look, they would have done their analysis on Brown. They know they've got a good line out. Once one or two doesn't go to plan, that can start playing tricks in the mind. So AIC, maybe you've got to add in a little trick play, maybe just throw it to the front of the line out just to mix it up and get momentum there.
See if our scrum halves get along this half a little bit better than they did off the ball in the first half. Let's see if all is forgotten.
Matt, I'd say look at along after the game, most likely. Good scrum half battle going on there. Tenorio Tovez, the psychology major from Guam, played for the Simon Sanchez Sharks in high school and played for the Guam national rugby team. So you see Lance Noor back on the try line for Brown. He's got a good boot. Big pressure coming in here. Look at that from AIC. Good work coming out in the second half.
Wow.
But it is going straight out. It's going to be another scrum here. Big statement there from the AIC Yellow Jackets.
And John,
yeah, that was an excellent scrum. That's two scrums now, but they've got a bit of parity back in. So whatever Fletcher said at halftime has worked. Let's see if they can keep this up.
Yeah, John, as per the number 8s, we're seeing more of Rador all over the pitch rather than Estevez so far. I think Antonio's got to make his name in this match.
Free kick against AIC. Didn't quite see what the infraction was there. But Brown, opportunity to move this one downfield, or can call another scrum if they want. They're going to bring in Dyer. He's the long-range kicker.
That's a big turnover for Brown.
That is a big turnover right there, Craig.
This is an okay decision from Brown, actually, because if you think about AIC's line out, even though AIC are going to be throwing in, you can see that Brown are like, well, look, we're going to be happy to play, but things are different here.
Haven't found touch. Juan Pablo Barzi is going to move it out to the wing, and here comes that speed. That is Shane Harding taking into contact, but penalty against Brown. Physical play coming in. A bit of afters here. We're going to come back. Estevez always likes to make it known when he makes a tackle. Player's just going to go back and relax. Referee is going to look at his watch. We're going to come back out here for a penalty against Brown. And a little gamesmanship there from the AIC players. Trying to get under Brown's skin just a bit. Here, Craig, I'm loving it. The set penalty moves here.
Yeah, I think this is the absolute go-to play. I think this is a wonderful decision. This is where their best players have come from. So fair play to AIC. Let's see what we do with this.
Raheem Rador takes it into contact. The marketing major needs no introduction to that defensive line. Happy to work his way in there. Ooh. Big run coming up from one of the front row players. Another player a little slow to get up there from AIC, but they'll get back in play as the ball comes in to the number 10. Finds a running forward coming in. Rossi finds an attacking player. We're going to come here for a penalty against AIC. Player coming in on an angle, Matt. Just all that good work just falls back.
You know, all that good work, including Fetai taking it on the burst, the number 7 for AIC, and all for naught as they turn the ball over. And now Dyer gets the kick for touch again.
And you can see the big boys, Craig, here trying to make their physicality known for AIC. That seems to be where they're trying to concentrate in the second half, is to really push physically this Brown team.
Absolutely. If you just watch the ruck battles, what are going on right now, both in attack and defense, fiercely contested. That's where Brown has drawn the penalty. But also, if you see when people are adding many players to the ruck, that does provide opportunities elsewhere if you can get that ball recycled.
Good push downfield to midfield for Brown. Brown has seen line out. It's been a bit unusual for them. Comes down into the hands of AIC. Another attacking opportunity. Joe Hasso just not quite finding his mark on some of these. As Tenorio Tovez moves it out to a happily waiting forward. Going to barrel his way through. Was he held? He was absolutely held. We're going to bring it back here. It's going to be a penalty for Brown. Tough luck, Matt McCarthy, for this AIC team.
Yeah, and you know what? They didn't really contest that line out, and still Brown misfired. And then the bounce came right into the hands of AIC. And unfortunately, as you say, here's the turn of events where Brown gets the ball back.
And Brown going to get the territorial gain here. Another opportunity to run from deeper inside the AIC half.
Yeah, that was a big missed opportunity. And I think Coach Fletcher is going to rue these little instances in this game because they're all adding up now. And right now it's a 10-point lead for Brown. If Brown can get points here, it's critical.
That one comes down. Estevez is going to get that one back. Lansanur has it in his hands. Big Dan Archer, the captain, he is happy to go forward, leading by example as he always does. Ball comes to Dyer. Dyer moves it. Comes to Ollie Corbett. Corbett, well tackled by AIC. We're going to come back for a penalty against AIC for offsides. And after some good luck there, Craig, just a couple little penalties creeping in, making life difficult for themselves are the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, so if you'll notice from the AIC lineout, they're not competing. They haven't competed at one lineout. So when Brown are bringing the ball down, they're just dummying it from the lineout to the first receiver, and that's getting AIC drawn offside. So actually really smart analysis by Brown because they know AIC are not competing, and they've just drawn the penalty and a chance to extend the lead.
Lansanur going to line up the post. Go ahead,
Sorry,
Matt.
and sorry, that's Dan Archer at 5'10", 220, taking that. It's like an NFL running back coming at you.
When you talk to Dan Archer in person, he's an average sized guy. When you see him play on the field sometimes, he's one of those guys that looks like he's 6'10" all of a sudden. It's pure passion and a little bit of anger mixed in there and a little bit of pride mixed in there. So Dan Archer is certainly a physical specimen when he plays. Lansanur lines this one up. And that one is good. Assistant referees Gregory and Ford are in agreement. Another 3 points on the board for the Brown Bears. Division I championship for the Liberty Conference on the line. We still have 30 minutes to play. 13 points in it. Some hard running needs to come to this AIC side. If they can make something out of nothing, Craig Wilson.
Absolutely. They need to be on the next scoreboard. They need to be scoring points. All starts from this kickoff. How far are they going to go? Are they going to contest? That's exactly what they do.
Ball knocked back by AIC. Good start for them. Keeping this one alive. Player, arms around the neck there. Got to be a little careful. Brown penalized. They're going to go back, and it looks like Herman Rossi going to come up and take this one.
And John, let's not forget, bears may like honey, but Yellow Jackets make the honey. That's what I'm saying.
And that is what you're saying, Matt McCarthy. I didn't know we were going to get into bears and honey and bees, but that's well said on your side.
So there's plenty of time is what my Yogi Berra kind of point was.
It is a little bit of Yogi Berra there.
Berra, not bear.
Yes. The Yellow Jackets just drawing in the bears with the honey. I see where you're going with this one.
Thank you. I'm here all week.
Try the veal. And a lineup coming for AIC. Corbett asking about time there. You see him in the red scrum cap. AIC, numbers in the line out. A little bit of messy there. Comes back in their direction. AIC on the move. Good pass out there into the hands of Barzy from Rossi. Referee whistles for a not rolling penalty against Brown. Opportunity here for the Yellow Jackets. Craig, I'm assuming they're going to go back to their set play here, run one of the big fellas.
Absolutely. You know it's coming now. Let's just see what they do because this is their most successful moments in the game so far.
Which big fella's going to get it? They're going to wing on this one. Try awarded, possibly. Referees, talking to assistant referee. They're going to judge this one and see what they do. But it looked like on the outside there, Kane Johnson, the number 4, may have been the decoy runner out there. If it is, it's the first-year player from Spanaway, Washington.
John, I don't know if he got the pressure down. I don't know if he got pressure down, and Brown seems convinced as they have this conversation.
Referee Steffens talking to assistant referee Gregory. See what their decision is. Referee is awarding the try to the Yellow Jackets. They move up to 12. Let's take a look, Craig Wilson.
Yeah, it all came from that penalty play, but this time they moved it a little bit wider, a drawing pass and a wonderful finish in the corner. AIC are back in the game. They're excited. This is a brilliant matchup we have right now.
Kane Johnson played for the Tacoma Tsunami Rugby Club in Spanaway, Washington, the sports management major, playing in Springfield now. Bit of an angle on the kick.
As we're lining up for the kick.
Waiting to see if this kick goes through. Kick coming from Rossi. Herman Rossi. Looks like he pushed that one across the bar there. What a kick from Rossi. Both assistant referees are in agreement. And chipping away to lead was Brown, but a big try comes in, 20-14. AIC, a converted try away from taking the lead from the Brown Bears. What a matchup we have. 25 minutes to go in the Liberty Rugby Conference Division I Championship. Lansanur hangs one up, and we're getting going again. Brown trying to take this one away, taken down by AIC. A bit
John,
of
what's our
open
extra
field
time
play?
set
A little
up?
stronger. We'll find out if we get there, Matt. That means I don't know. And we are looking at the ball here, but Zeller, right in front of the referee, goes in and takes that one away. Not a particularly smartest move there. Penalty for the Yellow Jackets.
Wow,
And AIC have been looking really
Craig.
Have been looking really threatening when they get that ball in hand. And let's not forget, they've got 2 first-team injuries right now, and they've had a yellow card. So they're really bringing it to play. Now Brown are going to be relying on their structure more than ever right now.
T. Fletcher really instilling some pride in this AIC team. Certainly still on the front foot, still playing their rugby. Looking strong here. It's going to be their line out inside the Brown half.
You know, they have matched punch for punch, blow for blow so far, this much ballyhooed Brown side. And you got to tip your cap to T. Fletcher and co. on the AIC side.
A little bit of messy lineout comes down to AIC. They're going to be able to get this one to the ground. Brown players are rolling away from it. Ball comes back. They're going to keep it in hand and run. Looking for some runners. It bounces up nearly to a Brown player. Thought it was knocked on, but the knock on comes from AIC. We're going back. However, it's going to be a penalty against AIC. Sorry, just a bit of an unlucky one there. As the ball bounced to a player in front. So instead of a knock on and scrum, penalty here for Brown in the AIC zone.
Yeah, if you're in the offside position and the ball bounces in front from a teammate, you can't field it, and he did just that.
And they are going to go for post again here with Lansanur. Lansanur would move this beyond a converted try, Craig, so making it a little bit tougher on this AIC team if this goes through. So smart play here from the Bears.
Oh, absolutely. Just keep putting the scoreboard pressure on. And if you just noticed there, very sneakily, as a referee was talking to AIC, he very sneaky, but big moments in tight games like this.
Lansanur should have the distance on this one. Ball will be live here. Lansanur has the distance, has the accuracy, has 3 points, 23-14. Brown takes the lead here, just chipping away and dealing with this wide-running, open field playing AIC team, Matt.
Yeah, and we're seeing some great kicks by each team, and that was a biggie. That, as you said, put them up by what, 9? I'm a 5-year English major out of the University of Buffalo, so I'm just guessing. It's shooting fish in a barrel for you right now in terms of target practice. But wow, that was a great kick right there. Pressure
9-point
kick.
game. Plenty of time to play. We're only about just under halfway through this second half. Great kick from AIC, swirling in the Rafferty Stadium breeze. Brown comes down with it. Ball's gone back. Lewis looking for a runner. Redor looking to knock this over. Lansanor is going to go to the boot. He can find some distance generally, find some green grass down that end of the field. AIC on the move. AIC going to keep this one in hand. They get it to the wing. This is where they're dangerous. Out into the hands of Tyler Cathers, the number 14 from Easton, PA. Puts it up to one of the big boys. One of the big boys takes it in, but can't find too much ground. Instead, finds Dan Archer. Coming around the back they are. Corbett gets stepped inside by one of the AIC runners. And penalty against Brown. Players not rolling away. Quick call. And here they go as quick as you like on the ball. Herman Rossi. They draw another penalty due AIC for not releasing. Bit quick on that one, Craig.
Yeah, so AIC are looking the best when they're playing quick. But as you say there, that was a very quick penalty. Maybe it wasn't for not 10, but that's what momentum and that's what pressure does. The attack usually get the rub of the green.
Referee Steffens inviting Dan Archer, the captain, out to have a conversation. He is getting a little tired of the debating club that can be the Brown University Rugby Club on occasion.
And John, are we getting to the point where maybe some penalties are piling up and we might see a yellow for Brown?
That's something they have to be very careful of here. Their players are, they're well versed in the rules. They're cognizant of what they're doing on the Brown team. They let it be known on occasion, so they have to make sure they're careful there. Don't get on the wrong side of the ref as Rossi blasts one into touch. Great attacking opportunity here for this AIC team. Would get them within 2 points of a lead, Craig.
Yeah, so this is now their sixth line out. 4 of them have been lost. One has been a bit messy, but they did win it. So we're now entering a big, big moment in this game. If they can secure the ball, they've got a real chance to get over this Brown line.
Estevez at the front defensively for Brown, looking where the ball is going to go. They go to the front to Sant. Little miscue there. The ball seems to go out. A referee, Gregory, the Pride of Buffalo, assistant referee, Gregory, Pride of Buffalo or Binghamton, calls that one. We're going to have a line out here, most likely for Brown, but an AIC player on the ground.
John, on that line out, the thrower threw a line drive short, and then it was like, okay, you're going to throw it this hard at me. I'm going to throw it right back at you in your face. That was the sequence. It was almost like the 2 of the 3 Stooges throwing the ball at each other. And that's a critical juncture where you got to control the ball.
Miscue there from AIC, another player down.
It was the right idea to go short, to mix it up, to take away the Brown defensive line-out threat. It just seemed they weren't quite on the same wavelength. But just interestingly, watch Brown's body language. They're quite animated. They're talking to the ref. They're getting into the AIC players. That probably says a lot that they haven't been under this pressure before. So this is going to be really interesting to see how they deal with this.
And they just lost one of those front row players, helped off the field.
Reserves will make a big difference here as we're at 62 minutes in the game clock. 18 minutes to go. A little bit of referee's time will be thrown in there. Ball to Brown. El Hasso. They go to Estevez in the middle of the lineout. The try scorer, Kane Johnson, trying to get his lengthy arms over the top there. Good tussle for the ball coming. They're going to have to get this to the ground and work it out. Is Brown, and they have done. Players working their way back there. Ball back to Lansanor. Lansanor, deep in his own end, launches one downfield. Finds a good touch. They're about 24, 25 meters out from the Brown line. AIC on the attack.
Now into their 7th line out. 6 have been unsuccessful. We talked about a big moment before. As that clock is starting to creep up, AIC need to do something here.
And Lansanor did really well to get that kick where he got it.
Messy ball there, but to the back to Redor. He's able to take that one down. That was a planned line out. To surprise me as well. Herman Rossi looks to move that one. Players from Brown moving away from the ball. Referee penalizing AIC this time. Player not releasing. Good defense. That looks like the captain, Dan Archer, or Henry Gabriel. I can only tell by the tape on the arm. From a distance, they do both look alike, Matt.
You got to go with the cleats, right? Well, actually, the cleats look pretty similar too.
We'll talk to Coach LaFlamme to get him some different colored cleats so we can tell them apart.
Somebody's got to dye their hair. Do the platinum hair thing.
Little chip ahead from AIC. Ball down in the hands of Corbett. Thought it was an advantage there, but penalty against Brown, I believe. A little bit of off the ball scuffle here. Somebody came at a couple of the Brown players.
It's getting a little chippy, as they say.
Didn't see exactly where it came from. Players on Brown just pulling their players away. Assistant referee coming in for a bit of discussion here. We'll see which side is offending a bit more.
I think Corbett, when he thought he had the break for the run, was a little bit frustrated, and that's where it started.
One area where Brown have been fantastic in this second half is competing in the defensive rucks. They've got many, many turnovers when AIC have looked threatening. So that's been really brilliant from a Brown perspective. Coach LaFlamme is going to be happy there.
We're going to come back to a scrum here for Brown off knock-on. Assistant referee didn't spot anything worth having a big discussion about. But both teams need to keep their cool for the next 15 minutes. Losing a player could be a big moment for either of them. Just over a converted try away is Brown. AIC coming in, Matt McCarthy.
You saw Tenorio Tovis and Antonio Esteves shaking hands there from Brown and AIC, respectively, the 8 of Brown and the 9 of AIC. So that was pretty cool. All right, let's get back to it. Let's get back to business.
Contact Coach Craig Wilson. Brown, not the ascendancy in the scrums in the second half they had in the first. Could be a big moment right here.
Yeah, this is a really big moment, actually. AIC have got themselves a little bit tighter, a bit more connected. They're pushing as one. And you can even see there from that early pressure, but maybe it's just a little bit too early on that push. And then Brown, exactly what they wanted, penalty scrum, and they're going to get the territory.
I had my soothsayer thing on in my head. I knew this was going to be a big scrum, and it comes with a penalty to AIC, Matt. Good opportunity for Brown to move the chains here, get the ball downfield, and take a good line out deep in the AIC zone.
Yeah, again, losing that front row for AIC was a big blow because they were using that weight, that power up front to counteract some of the talent on this Brown roster. But now it looks like, we're going into the final 15 minutes of this match, and it might be that the creme de la creme, or the cream always rises, right? So we'll see what happens with Brown here now. That they can get a try here, and I think they want to, that could mean the end for AIC.
Looking for Esteves in the middle line out. Comes down and then moves it. Just a bit slow here, so players coming on. But Dan Archer, yet again, is going to barrel his way forward. The captain, I think I said happy to lead by example. The last time he was in the same exact position. Lewis gets that one back. They go across to the other side from Dyer. They got some runners. Corbett gets to Esteves. Esteves looking for the try line. Esteves across the try line. 5 points to the good for Brown. But we're going to have a little discussion here with assistant referee Alana Gregory just to ensure it was actually a try.
John, I think that might have been a forward pass.
We will see where the decision comes. Referees just having a discussion.
It sure looked forward to me.
Lonsanor lining up to take a kick. We'll see from... And Brown players going back, so it looks like that is going to be considered a try there. So up to 28 points is Brown. Just smart play there, Craig.
Yeah, that's the first time Brown have got into their structure. So from the line out, it got into that midfield pod, big carry from Dan Archer, and then you'll notice they came back the other way. That's where Corbett and Esteves were waiting, the 2 wide forwards, and then it was a 2v1, well executed. First bit of structure from Brown, and they execute.
I'm calling shenanigans on that last one.
You don't think it was a try, Matt? We're going to walk through it in just a second. We'll have you take us there. And we'll see what it is as Lonsanor lines up his kick. Lonsanor from an angle hangs that one up. We'll see what the assistant referees decide here. Assistant referees flags stay down. Well, the other flags go up. They get it there. So it is 29-14. We'll take another look here, and Matt McCarthy can walk us through when we see this.
I have a feeling that you've seen it there without me seeing it, and now you're just setting me up for. Okay, here we go. Here it is. Watch this. Here, that's forward. That's a forward pass.
It looked like it came back out of his hands to me.
Oh,
Alan Corbett would never throw a forward pass.
Very googly moogly.
Zeller up for the ball there for Brown. We have some discussion to be had on a rugby wrap-up this week about whether that was a forward pass. As ball goes to ground, Lewis moves that ball back. Brown not using a lot of reserves. We're just about 10.5 minutes left in this. Long pass to this dangerous back three of AIC. Ball coming from McDonough. Gets tackled, but able to get that ball up and away. Brown players in and over it, but ball comes back cleanly. There's the try score. Jumps in the air for no particularly good reason, does Kane Johnson. Back across we come. Ball held up in the middle of the field by Brown. Big run coming from Redor. He's not taking a backward step so far in this game. A penalty against Brown. Brown players obviously disagreeing with that. But good call there from the referee. And now AIC has a bit of work to do in the next 10 minutes, Craig, but they're going to push this downfield.
Yeah, now it's time to chase the game. Okay, you've got your number of points down, 10 minutes to go, last game of the season. You've got to throw absolutely everything at this. And it starts with getting some territory from a line out and building from there.
Looks like a yellow card coming in.
Yeah.
Matt?
I was just going to say, we got the cheese, the yellow being shown. So that's another blow for AIC with just about 10 minutes unofficially left in this match, as Brown is now putting the pedal to the metal.
Which player for AIC was yellow carded when they have a penalty? A little thrown off here, Matt. Do you know which one?
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just thought it was a penalty against AIC.
Penalty for AIC.
So then it was a Brown player that was shown.
And maybe a Brown player off for the remainder of this contest. We'll see. As AIC a line out here deep inside the zone. Plenty of time here for this high-flying AIC team if they can get the ball in the right spaces for their runners. They go to Kane Johnson, but the throw is just a little bit off. Comes down into the hands of Redor, but knocked on. So scrum for Brown. They'll be very pleased with that. And the clock keeps rolling down.
All right, let's count those players, John.
I believe they're bringing in a reserve. I thought they were bringing a reserve forward for Brown. Brown was yellow carded, and we're getting the official word here. So 14 players for Brown for the remainder.
Yeah, so if you're looking at that scoreboard and thinking that, AIC has the yellow, it's actually Brown that's got the yellow.
And bring that one up. Missed a player, Craig. They want to move this one out just a bit quicker, Will Brown, expecting to play a little territory for the rest of the game.
Oh, absolutely. They'll be playing minimal rugby now. It'll be getting that ball into the deep area, deep into AIC's territory, turn them around because they have to chase the game. Expect a big, long kick here if there's not a scrum penalty.
Referee is indeed going to penalize. Scrum penalty coming from Brown. A little too anxious was AIC, but having a better second half in the scrums. Brown, for the first time this season, team pushing back against him a little bit there. A good lesson leading into the playoffs for both of these teams. As Dyer launches one downfield. Doesn't get too much distance on that. Line out for Brown.
Yeah, and again, that loss of that front rower at that critical juncture for AIC, it's been pretty much all Brown since.
Ball in there from AIC. Miscued there. Goes backwards. AIC still alive. Ball comes back to Brown. Put that one back in. Goes to an AIC player. See what happens. A bit of a mess on the sideline at the moment. But here comes AIC on the move. One of their big reserve forwards powers his way in. That's Tenorio Toves moves it out, but good pressure from the Brown defense, but has it open up a hole, come back into the hands of Lansanur. Lansanur takes it into contact. Players coming over him, but we're going to come back for a scrum. A little knock on there from Brown. Opportunity here for AIC on the Lansanur knock on.
And that's exactly what AIC want to be doing now. They haven't shown the kick all game. They kicked in behind. The bounce of the ball was inches away from landing in the hands, and that would have been under the post. So I really like the ambition from AIC. Now's the time to do it.
Yeah, you got nothing to lose right now. Kitchen sink, Statue of Liberty, whatever you got, use it. Flea flicker.
It is time for the kitchen sink or the flea flicker, whichever one you want.
You just got to replace the forward pass with a forward kick.
Brown sets it in. Lewis. Ball at Estevez's feet. Good pressure coming on. Penalty against AIC. That's exactly what they're looking for. Estevez shapes to go quick, but intelligently does not. Ball's going to come back to Dyer. They're going to take some time off the clock, Craig, and push this one downfield.
Yeah, it's just a story of a set piece, really. Brown's dominance and hence the scoreboard dominance has all been from Scrum and line-up, but particularly Scrum has been brutal, and it just gives them that opportunity just to take time out of this clock.
You don't want to get caught like Bernard Foley with that killing too much time at the end of a match to make that kick, though, right? Into touch.
Yeah, you're certainly going to want to make sure you get that done before the time there. Referees checking up on that. Certainly a little bit more. As we continue to move on with this D1 championship game, Rafferty Stadium, hosted by Fairfield University. Austin Ryan, director of rugby at Fairfield, done a wonderful job getting this whole event down.
You know, John, while we have a moment, you know, these teams are going to Houston, right? And I think AIC learned a lot about themselves, and I think they have a lot of positives to build on because they were toe-to-toe with this Brown team. And now maybe they know, okay, we eliminate certain mistakes, we mitigate mistakes, we have a chance.
I think Brown would have learned a little bit as well, Matt. You know, they have had some lopsided scores this season. So for them to be in a good battle like this is very strong. Lewis continuing that battle as players coming in from every single direction. Looks like AIC is going to come down with it. A big back and forth battle at that breakdown. And here comes AIC. AIC looking at midfield. AIC gets the ball to the ground. Tenorio Toves moves it wide, and there's that space on the wing. There's that power. Little arm tackle. It doesn't go there. Ball turned over there to Brown. Brown from Court to Baria. Tries to get low in. It looked like it was knocked back by AIC. Referee whistles us up. See what we're going to come back with here again. A little bit of afters here from these teams. Unnecessary.
Yeah, and you know what I liked? I liked number 12, William Zeller of Brown, throwing himself into a counter ruck with abandon. Right? He was just that speaks volumes up and down that lineup. Everybody's getting their nose dirty.
Referee and assistant referee having another conversation. Certainly not about where they're going to go out for dinner later. Talking about which one of these teams is committed a foul here. There's been a little too much chippiness as Dan Archer is going to be called out with Redor to have a conversation.
Can you be 100% sure they weren't talking about that?
Well, maybe now they're asking the players where they're going to go to dinner. Some wonderful restaurants around Fairfield University.
There are. It's a great place. It's a great campus. And again, they're going to build the state-of-the-art rugby facility is groundbreaking in like a month or two. Not like next year, not 2005. They are going to get it done.
Not the location you see here, but it's Growart Field, the oldest collegiate rugby field in the nation, named for Lieutenant Hans Growart. How's that for some information for you, Matt McCarthy?
Well, I can one-up you. His mom was the one that gave them the money to build the field because her son was lost and he liked rugby. He didn't play here even.
Wow. I've been one up. Fantastic.
All right. Put that in your pipe
Amazing
and smoke it.
Right there. I started playing rugby on Hans Growart Field in high school, so it's where my memories come from. That's how old that
lost
field
in
is.
Vietnam. Was
Yep. Hans Growart.
Yes.
Another scrum here. Everything's decided. We've given everybody a little history lesson on rugby fields at Fairfield University. But we're at Rafferty Stadium right now, and Rafferty Stadium is abuzz with the D1 championship here late in the game. Penalty against AIC. But Craig Wilson, not easy penalties. AIC still coming strong.
Yeah, it's just a story of Dave over set piece. It's just been absolutely dominant from Brown, and that's given them the platform to attack. But AIC have had a lot of positives in this game, particularly these double tackles and the contest at the ruck like we're seeing now.
Lewis moves to Lonsanor to Zeller. Zeller has a couple of people coming on him, able to step back in. Is a Massachusetts native and one of two seniors in this team. Lewis has to get by a defender. He's going to hang on the ball himself. Lewis on a run. Lewis has one to beat. He's tackled eventually. Lonsanor's got some runners. Cortabaria, Santiago Cortabaria, Uruguayan-born. Belen, Jesuit graduate, playing fullback. Brother on the reserve bench. Lewis has to come in and take this one. Player looked just a touch off sides there, but Zeller able to get that one away. Estevez going straight up the field. Estevez gets tackled. We're going to come back for a penalty here, and another AIC player on the ground. So we come back for a penalty against AIC.
I think that might just be sheer exhaustion as you see him get up and they're touching faces. I think that's Rossi, who's had himself a feisty game, the number 10, Herman Rossi, for AIC. And John, who's our player of the match?
Good question on who the player of the match is. For that, right now, the 80-minute mark with some time to go, while they have a discussion, we will go to Craig Wilson. Craig Wilson, who are you looking at?
Well, Brown, you can't go any further than the set piece. So you've got to look at Dan Archer in the front row. You've got to look at Enrique Gabriel, Joe Alhasso. Like, those guys up front have really set the platform for this game because there hasn't been too much going on out wide. So I'll definitely keep it into one of the front rows.
Certainly one of the front rows. I'd have to agree with that. That's where the power is coming from. It has been a forwards game here for this Brown team. So do you give it to the first year Henry Gabriel, Matt McCarthy, or do you give it to the veteran senior captain Dan Archer?
I'm going to have to go with Archer, but I would also say that Corbett had an effectively annoying game. He's that guy that you don't want to play against, that you hate playing against, but you love on your team. And also I'd like to tip my cap to, on the other side of the ball, Rador, Fafetai, and of course, Kaunuvalu all had great matches. The 7, 8, and 9. I mean, the 5, 7, and 8 of AIC. But Archer, the arrow on target for the Archer.
Referee has yellow carded Lonsanor. I find that a bit surprising. Lonsanor, not one of the more combative players in this team, the fly half, but he's going to be off for the remainder of this one. A bit surprised.
The Frenchman that went to high school in Singapore, right? And now he's in college in the United States.
In Providence.
We're
over on time here. We are in injury time at the moment. Referee's time. It's going to be a line out here for AIC. See big Afasant at the front there. Little line out practice before the actual line out. Happens now and again. Going to the tail, but Corbett able to take that one down. Estevez moves it out. Possibly a time here, but they're going to keep this one going. Dylan Lewis trying to dig this out, but penalty against AIC. Ball.
Hey, John, they're keeping this one going, but we got another one coming up ahead. We've got UMass and the Binghamton Bearcats, and that is going to be a good match. That's a semifinal in the D1 AA, correct?
It certainly is a D1 AA semifinal. The Bearcats versus the Minutemen coming up 9 p.m. Eastern. Your man, Matt McCarthy, going to take the reins on play-by-play for that one with Craig, the contact coach, Wilson, coming in.
And who won the first of the semifinal battles?
Oh, thanks a lot for that question. I haven't thought about it in a couple hours after 10 games today. But that one was Boston College. So that would be the winner of that would be the final next week against the Boston College Eagles. Boston College Eagles, I will be calling against the University of Notre Dame in a Catholic school challenge on Friday, the 18th of November, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's a National Collegiate Rugby Game of the Week. Thank you, Matt McCarthy, for giving me the ability to pump up future games of mine as this one winds down. Ball to the tail. Estevez takes that one down. They're going for a driving maul here. Brown trying to end off this game with the power they began it with. AIC players got to be careful there. They're starting to splinter off and drive to the ground. Coming through is Brown. Brown happy to move the power forward. Players calling for a penalty. Referee agrees. On the ground they go. Ball comes out to Dyer. He's going to Zeller. Zeller goes wide to no one in particular. That one winds up near the touchline. We're going to come back for the penalty. Craig.
Yeah, as the playoffs get deeper as they progress, Brown are really going to have to work on what they do outside of their forward play. It hasn't really clicked so far tonight. So Coach LaFlamme has got some work to do when he gets back to Providence.
Penalty here. We're going to go for the posts. Players just want to wind the time down. You would think this one should be the end of this. Two teams headed to the playoffs. Two teams looking strong here. I think a rematch of these later in the playoffs would be certainly an interesting contest. AIC will certainly have grown in confidence against a high-scoring team. Brown will have learned a little bit about playing some pretty tough competition out there, Craig.
Yeah, really. AIC have really brought it physically. They have all the foundations to go very deep nationally. If they can just sort out that set piece as they move into training week, they've got a real chance.
Dylan Lewis to take this one, the sophomore scrum half. Most likely the final save of the game here, unless the ball stays in play. Most important thing is to launch this one. And he does. And that one is good, according to the assistant referees. And referee Steffens looks like he's whistling for the end of the match.
Yep,
here.
they're coming in from the sideline. So, yeah.
Conversations here. So that's it. It is 32-14. The Brown Bears are the Division I Liberty Conference champions for 2022. Headed on the road to Houston. Craig Wilson, final thoughts?
Just a wonderful exhibition of set-piece play from Brown. AIC have got a real opportunity to go deep. I'm looking forward to seeing both these teams in postseason.
Matt McCarthy, your final thoughts?
Just loving the continued growth of the college rugby game. It's only going to make our nation's team better and our Major League Rugby better.
All right, stay tuned for the Division I AA semifinal at 9 p.m. Eastern. The Bearcats of Binghamton versus the Minutemen of UMass. For Mike Baker, for Matt McCarthy, for Craig Wilson, I'm John Broker. Everybody at Next Level Rugby. Stay tuned for our next matchup.
Everybody, and welcome to Fairfield University for this Liberty Conference semifinal between Binghamton and UMass. It's the D-AA semifinal. Boston College has already won earlier today to earn the right to play the winner of this game next week. Matt McCarthy and Craig Wilson, the contact coach. Craig, interesting matchup that we have here.
Yeah, really interesting matchup we've got today. UMass, who I've seen with my team over at Yale, a very strong team, good with the kick. They like to turn teams around. So I'm really interested to see how they use this midnight, late evening, dew on the ball, just to turn it around and see what they do.
All right, and Craig, kudos to you for your victory earlier with Yale, with the Bulldogs.
Yeah, it was an excellent finish to the season. I think the alumni are more happy about the Harvard victory earlier in the year, but we had a wonderful victory today against Albany, who put up a really good fight. Finished the season strong, and it's just been a wonderful event over at Fairfield today. Really, really happy with the whole event. So thank you to Fairfield for hosting.
Yeah, Fairfield and Austin Ryan, a tremendous job once again. And we mentioned it in previous broadcasts, but there are plans to make a really, really high-level rugby complex here for Fairfield University. So they're talking about rivaling what Dartmouth has as their facility.
Well, really interesting, actually. I know you were talking about history earlier on. The president of Fairfield, the whole college, is actually a Yale rugby alumni, which is Mark Nemec. So he's a big rugby man. So I remember when Fairfield played Yale on one occasion, he was refereeing a game. There's not many times you get a president of a college refereeing a rugby match. So really good things going on at Fairfield right now, and credit to them.
Yeah, and Nemec's got that alumni group really humming right now. And that's what we were talking about. That's a recurring theme on the college rugby landscape. When you can get those alumni associations involved, you can turn a program around overnight. I mean, you're seeing it now, steps forward for your program. Dave Laflamme of Brown, he's seeing it for his program. But right here in Fairfield, another perfect example of that. And it's just an exciting time on the college rugby landscape. And these two teams match up in interesting ways. There are 7 grad students starting in this match, 4 for Binghamton and 3 for UMass. So there's going to be a ton of experience on the field, you'd think.
No, absolutely. The grad students, they just add a bit of age. They've probably been playing the game for a little bit longer. We know when we come across the grad students, they're just a bit bigger. They've just been around for a bit longer. And it's a really interesting dynamic when they play.
You know, and you don't think it's that big of a deal, but when you get out of college or out of university, as we say over here, or to differentiate, college is high school overseas in some places. It's not, it's university. So anyway, you graduate, you go play a year for a men's club, and you come back and you play in your alumni game. It's like you're playing against your little brother.
No, absolutely. A 25-year-old is very different to an 18-year-old. So it does make a big difference. And yeah, just add that extra experience, particularly if you played senior rugby, just around a few of those more rugged guys. You learn a few lessons and you learn them quickly, and you can bring them back to your team. But I actually like that as well, because it brings back experience and it just elevates the whole team, the whole program. So I think it's a positive all around.
Yeah, so if you're looking at Binghamton, for instance, what's interesting is the number 8, Willie Otani, is a freshman or first-year student, and he's got his number 7 is a grad student. So he's got that experience around him, and the number 10's a grad student as well. And on the other side of the ball, you have the number 8, the number 9, the 13 are all grad students for UMass.
Yeah, it's just, well, when you look at a rugby team, you want to get that real, we call it the spine of the team. So you're looking at your 2, your number 8, your 9s and 10s, a centre and a fullback. If you can get experience in those key areas, it really adds a lot. And then it can bring those younger guys on. They can learn from them. It can take pressure off when needed. So it's just trying to get that spine of the team with experience is a really key thing to do.
All right. Did we get the information on our referees as we're getting ready to start here shortly? And I'm going to guess that Binghamton is in the green, and UMass are in the black. That is correct. We have verification. So we're off to a rousing start, Craig.
We sure are, and we've seen the black of UMass come down to New Haven just a few weeks ago and really keep an eye out on their game. That's just such a key part of their game. So I'm interested to see how Binghamton, how they've done their analysis, how they set up their backfield. Is it going to be two back? Are they going to leave a sole fullback with wings on strings? It's going to be a really interesting matchup, and we're going to find that out in the first few minutes. You can tend to see how a team is starting to play.
I like the wings on strings analogy. You know, it really paints an image, and you've got these players. There's always that fine line, and you know this as a coach, between aggression and youthful exuberance, right? In key situations.
There really is. We're really big on game context. What is needed at the right time? So obviously you have to have tools to be able to look at how you want to play the game, but also it's just choosing that right tool at the right time. And a big way of doing that is painting pictures, as you say, like wings on strings, is a really good analogy to use.
And I'm looking at the front rows, and we've got Kevin Vera, Clayton Spalding, and Alex Iforo for Binghamton up front. And that's a grad student, a senior, respectively, up front for the Bearcats. Whereas on the other side of the ball, the Minutemen, you've got Wisdo, Sawas, and Belisi, a junior, sophomore, and a senior, respectively. Do you think that's going to make a big difference in this match?
I think not necessarily the age, but whoever gets that front row dominance is going to give themselves a really good opportunity. If you just look back at the last game we just called, Brown v AIC, a lot of rugby comes down to how successful your set piece is. Is your scrum functioning? Can it put pressure on the opposition? Likewise, with the line out, can you put on pressure there? It is the foundation of all rugby teams, and the most successful teams tend to have a very high set piece percentage accuracy rate.
Well, you would know this stuff. He's the contact coach, folks, and if you haven't checked out his videos, they're exceptional, and you're going to get a treat listening to him during the course of this game, counteracting. He's the contact coach. I'm the non-contact player. So we're going to have a nice little rapport going to go on, but I want to look at the rest of the lineup. Any of these teams have a player that you think that we should keep an eye on?
The big player for me is Matt Mahood for UMass. He's from Ireland, very, very good kicker of the ball, likes to play territory. And then on the back of that, you've also got a big, strong player in Jack Johnson. He's a young guy, but he really likes to bring it to the opposition. 6'5" from Hanover, Mass. Okay, so he knows the area well, and I'm really excited to see those two play.
Beautiful. So we're getting ready. We've got a 9 p.m. kickoff time here on the Next Level Rugby YouTube channel. The end of our great day of rugby. And we've had all kinds of rugby here today for fans to watch across the spectrum. And you got to get up early Eastern time at 7 a.m. to watch Team USA in their repechage match against Hong Kong. Or no, is it Kenya? It's Kenya, right?
Kenya this time, yeah.
Who's going to win that one?
Oh, USA all the way. You know, it's a friendly schedule for USA in the sense that they can build into it, and with Portugal coming at the end. But obviously, you've got to do the business in the early games. But if you were going to draw up a schedule, you would want to take Kenya on first.
There you have it. And we have our number 10s, Michael Davitt, the grad student for Binghamton. Our number 10, James Sullivan for the Minutemen. And at the number 9 position, and I'm just bringing these positions up because they're going to be front and center all game long, Willie Otani, the first-year student. Michael Drum, the sophomore, at number 9 for the Bearcats, and Jordan Velez at number 9, a grad student. So you got a sophomore versus grad student at the number 9 position, Craig.
Yeah, no, absolutely. 9 is another key decision-making position. And so the 9 can control the flow of the game, and they can wrestle back the flow of the game if it's not going their way. So I'm really excited to see the 9s. Also for the Bearcats, I'm excited to see Alex Berry, number 12. He's been involved with the New York Rugby Academy. He's a big, strong runner. He's come off the back of an injury, and he's going to be ready to be flying, particularly in this semi-final game, ready to put his body on the line for his team.
Exactly, and you got to love the kit that the referee's wearing. Is that like a Harlequins? What did he lose a bet?
The referees want to stand out usually for their outfit, not for their calls. So if that's the only way we talk about the referee today, Akira Doe, I think we've done the right thing. He's a very experienced ref, Akira, and he's going to manage this game really well.
Diplomatic answer from my colleague Craig Wilson, the contact coach, because he coaches, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just look right through that. He's going to be a tad diplomatic, but I kid. Anyway, we're going to get started in just a second. Michael Davitt of the Binghamton Bearcats will get us underway. He's the scrum cap wearing fly half as we get set to go. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Our semifinal D1AA is underway. It's the black line on the outside over there, if you're wondering, not the white line for the touch. I only know that from making 50,000 mistakes all day long trying to call these matches on these multi-purpose fields. But hey, it's a great facility, and it's a great experience for these teams as Binghamton pushes forward. That's Clayton Spalding taking the ball to turf, getting it back out. And it goes wide inadvertently, but held on to after a hop. Looks like Stabner collects it for the Bearcats. Binghamton in the green and white. UMass in the black and red. In this Liberty Conference National Collegiate Rugby Clash, the winner gets to play Boston College's Eagles next weekend as we head into that big December weekend, in Houston. It's a nice give and go. A nice look inside is Hainu, Liam Hainu, the number 13. And now it's one of his front row mates. And it's going to be a first penalty, Craig, of the match.
Well, what a start for both teams. So Binghamton's showing they can keep the ball under extreme pressure from UMass. So Binghamton, they weren't looking to kick the ball early. They kept the ball in hand, and UMass were meeting it with double tackle after double tackle. And then eventually the penalty came. So both teams really got into the game nice and early there.
Indeed. And here's it's going to be I think this is our first line out. It's all a blur. Apologies, folks. We have done a lot of rugby today. And I'm looking at green, and I'm thinking of Ireland here with their big win over South Africa, another team wearing green. Ireland was actually in a blue and green kit, almost a Leinster salute in their colors. But here's Binghamton in the white and green hoops, as they like to say. Well taken up, but a knock on right in off the chest. But that was the advantage being played, so it's still going to be Binghamton ball after Jordan Lipinski had that ball carom off his chest, the big number 4.
Yeah,
and there's a kick to tie.
So from Binghamton there, they showed they're not afraid to change direction as well. So they had a good set-piece starter in the midfield, and they came back. We call that a return play. They came back to where the ball started from, and that caught the UMass line-out forwards offside, and they've just kept the pressure on now.
Yeah, player I'm looking at is the number... Where is he? The number 6 for UMass. He's only 18 years old. And that is Michael Ging. As Binghamton, the number 12, Alex Berry, challenges the defense. And there it looks like a knock-on in contact. But nope, it's going to be another advantage being played for Binghamton. And at a certain point, the referee's going to have a conversation with UMass, isn't he, Craig?
Absolutely. 3 minutes, 3 penalties. And it's all came from Binghamton pressure. They're managing possession. They're forcing UMass to make the tackles, which they are. But what you find, it's the accumulation of pressure leads to a penalty. And they've all been 3 different penalties so far. So UMass have to get their discipline nailed pretty quickly if they want to get themselves back into this game.
And there's a great drone shot from our next level rugby crew showing us the configuration of the defense and the offense as we await this penalty goal. And Davitt strikes it right through. And you know what, Craig? He didn't take his scrum cap off for the kick.
Oh, no, it's obviously not sweaty enough. Really great start from Binghamton. That is when you do your team runs on a Friday afternoon or just before the game, that is exactly what you try and do. You keep possession, you get your line out sorted, and then you kick 3 points when they're off. That is a classic start to a semi-final match.
And now UMass will get us restarted again. Binghamton settling under the ball in their own end, deep and willing to run it out. Not even a thought process of trying to put that one up with the boot. And you like to see that, a commitment right away with the ball. If you're not going to kick it, just take off with it.
No, absolutely. They've got their DNA. They want to keep the ball and they want to kick on their own terms. And that was a wonderful clearance exit there to get the possession up to halfway. Now UMass have got to rebuild. That was a wonderful exit from Binghamton. Great start.
And that's Davitt at a Rye High School in Rye, New York. NCR Collegiate All-American, Liberty All-Stars 10s team in 2021. And a fun fact about him, his favorite food is burritos.
So UMass have went
really
with a 4-man lineout off the top,
and it's knocked on. Oh, Craig, you're a big guy up front. One. You're doing all this work, and that you get the ball, and that happens.
Yeah, just a skill set error there. A bit unfortunate. Maybe it was just down at his laces, but you can see the movement from UMass was nice. There's definitely something to work with there, and they'll be looking to get it right back now in the scrum to set down a marker that we're not going to be pushed around.
And Jordan Velez will not be happy with himself, but he will forget that. You have to be a goldfish, as Ted Lasso says. No memory. Just forget it.
Absolutely. It's all about the next job. You can't get that one back, but you can control what you do in the next play. And that's a sort of positive talk that UMass will be using, or any player, just to get themselves back into this match quickly.
It's going to have Michael Drum taps, puts it in, and his team is now off and running. Davitt gets it out to his centers. Ball finds the turf, though. Lucky couple times. And we might have what we call one of those held him up tackles, but he does find the turf. And now Binghamton taking it out the other way. And there's that man, Lipinski, number 4, rumbling and tumbling in that back line. That's an interesting development. A nice move inside. Great moves for daylight by Davitt. And his team is going to earn a penalty.
Absolutely, and you can probably guess what they're going to do here after a kick that we've just done in the first few minutes. Just Binghamton, once again, they're just playing really lovely structure. They're keeping UMass, the defense, moving from left to right, and they're just drawing those penalties out. They've opted to go for the line out this time. It was a successful line out on their first attempt, so they're going to be looking to replicate that once again.
You know, the one thing that I love about these competitions is what separates rugby is you have a school like Binghamton and a school like UMass able to have a sports rivalry budding, right? I mean, the Liberty Conference teams, they're names that you might not recognize or you might not think are naturally sports programs, but look at what we got going on here. And look at this run from the big number 8, Willie Otani, the first-year student. He's playing Absolutely. Like a seasoned veteran out there.
Absolutely. That was a big run. Bit of a knock on there. But Binghamton are really bringing it to UMass. They're going to have to weather this storm and try and wrestle back momentum. And they've got an opportunity to do that now, albeit deep in their own half.
And you saw the introduction Sorry, go ahead, Craig.
No, you were just talking about the rivalries and the Liberty Conference. It's just a wonderful conference to set up, and also to see a relegation battle from D1 with the team relegated going down to D1 AA. To have that movement,
you had to bring that up. You had to bring that up. That's my university at Buffalo that got relegated, Craig.
Well, you're going to have to get a coaching gig back there then, Matt. But look, it's just a brilliant league, and it's wonderful to be part of, and testament to what's going on at college rugby right now.
I love the relegation aspect of it because maybe a team's not quite ready, but then the alarms go off, the whistles go off, and maybe the alumni gets involved. And there's another pass that goes to turf. Every time the outside wing has had to wait for a ball, it's like a short hop ground ball, like it's like the World Series, I guess, tribute between the Astros and the Phillies. And I'll ask you who you're rooting for at the next whistle. But in the meantime, what have you seen so far that you like and don't like?
So spoke about Binghamton's possession. They've really controlled that possession. And UMass, we haven't really seen them in attack. And that's because they haven't had the ball. And when Binghamton are carrying, they're looking to bring other people into the game. You've seen some offloads. But I think UMass have got a wonderful opportunity now just to really keep stemming that flow, keep the ball in the middle of the field. And once they get that back, to show what they can do.
All right, now I got to ask you, Phillies or the Astros?
I think it's the Red Sox, right? Is that what I'm going to say up in this area?
Well, unfortunately, yeah, the Red Sox are no longer in the tournament, as they say. It's just you have just two choices: the Philadelphia Phillies and the Houston Astros. But we'll leave the audience waiting as Michael Drum, the sophomore, taps, puts it in. And that is going to be an unfortunate knock-on after Binghamton had some momentum and maybe opening the door a bit here off of the missed kick, and now UMass has an opportunity.
Absolutely. Midfield scrum is the best attacking platform because the defense have to cover the most amount of field. When the ball is on the wide channels, there's only really one way to attack. You have to come back in field so the defense can get really aggressive. However, on a midfield scrum, like we see this setup here, there's space behind, there's space to the left, there's space to the right. So this is a wonderful platform that UMass has given themselves to attack from.
Indeed. And now we have the Battle of the Nines going back. They're going to try short side are the Minutemen, and there's a nice little kick. Did it go directly out, or did it find touch? Or did it find some green before it went into touch? It did indeed. So it's going to be a line out.
Absolutely. So this isn't a bad call. Even though they haven't got the ball, we probably would have preferred to keep that ball in. What they have shown Binghamton is that they're willing to kick. That now makes the Binghamton defenders think, oh, do I put so much pressure on or do I cover the backfield? So really interesting tactical battle going on now.
And there's the line out, and that's going to come back. You know, it's the execution of some of the fundamental pieces in the fundamentals in the set pieces that sometimes are lost in translation for these younger players. And you're like, okay, we got to eliminate or mitigate those mistakes. And here you have an example of that with a scrum down.
Absolutely. Again, so from that kick, they've made Binghamton play the line out deep in their own half. That puts pressure on. One mistake, and now you've got a brilliant attacking scrum opportunity.
And here come UMass. Down just 3-0 after it looked like it was going to be all Binghamton to start the match, but now it's kind of evened out, except for that. Now it's a kick and a chase. Who's got the speed? Can he get there? He's got one more kick in him. Now the ball, it's going to go out through the back. Who's got it? I don't know, but we got an exciting play nonetheless. And we got the referee's going to have to make a decision here.
Yes, that was the typical bouncing ball of a rugby ball. It can go absolutely anywhere, but it was the Bearcats who pounced on it first, kicked the ball through, kept the pressure on, and it's amazing how quickly you can make 90 meters. That was a brilliant play to get that ball back into the UMass half.
And that was Liam Hainu, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that name. It's Heanue. Craig, I'll throw you under the bus and make you figure out how to say that one as Connor Young comes back for Binghamton and puts the ball up in the air. And now a counterattack, no look pass, and it's turned over. And there's Alex Stabiner again, picking up one of those bouncing balls, the number 11 for the Bearcats.
So both teams have showed they're here to play. They want to move the ball. They're looking at there's short kicks, there's short passes, there's offloads. This is going to turn into a really exciting game because soon enough, those passes are going to start sticking or the kicks are going to get a friendly bounce, and this game's really going to open up.
Yeah, I'm loving again. I just keep going to it. I'm loving the F in the middle of the field for Fairfield, and you got Binghamton, and you got UMass, and it's all about college rugby. And these programs are starting to get their names out there and get on the map. And maybe the schools are going to say, hey, you know what? Maybe this rugby thing's for real.
Oh,
out of the back of the scrum. Sorry, go ahead, Craig.
No, it's just, again, just from UMass, they're really showing a willingness to play and bringing it back to just the whole product, having eyes on rugby, and what NCR and Liberty have done it's just been wonderful for the collegiate game. It really has elevated in the last 2 years. It's come out of the COVID era in a much stronger place. You've got how many games were played today? Was it 10, 12 games, all live streamed? Think of the engagement that's had with alumni, the engagement with parents. It's just been a wonderful product, and it's only going to get stronger.
And meanwhile, we had a knock on and a scrum down to UMass. Jordan Velez, the grad student, will put it in. He is being checked by Michael Drum, the sophomore at Arlington High School in LaGrangeville, New York. Here comes the Minutemen. And they don't need to do it in a minute. They just need to just get some points, get some continuity, and that's going to be a whistle. But the advantage was being played.
So UMass are showing that they're willing to move the ball into the wider channels. And right now, it's just that last pass, what's not sticking, where if it's just timed a little bit better, they're going to be finding some serious gaps in the wider channels. But with that, tactically, Binghamton are going to start filling those channels, because then it may open up opportunities in field. So a real good tactical battle going on right now.
That's an excellent over-the-shoulder catch, and then presence of mind to put the ball back up in the air. But let's see how good the kick chase is. Running into traffic instead, finding the kick chasers was the Minuteman ball carrier. Now they give it to the big boys up front. That's going to be Xavier Wisdom, which is instantly one of my favorite rugby names, taking the ball into contact there, the big number 1 for UMass. Now they spin it outside. Nice mix-up. Oh, a good tackle, just a maybe try saving tackle because he had a glimpse of light there. And it's going to be a penalty awarded for not releasing to Binghamton.
And once again, it's those wider channels. UMass, they're really threatening down there. It's not quite sticking now, but you can see that it's a big part of their DNA, their philosophy, how they want to play the game. They're moving it to their speedsters out wide. So far, so good for Binghamton. They're controlling it. But let's see how that fatigue starts to build up as we near the 20-minute mark, and how UMass can cope with keeping that ball in hand and maybe not forcing that last pass.
Yeah, I thought Andre Boussinot out of Paris, France, had a shot. He's got that electric speed on the wing for UMass. But in the meantime, we got to pile up, and UMass controls the ball out of the back of that ruck. And here we go. UMass trying to just get something going. They're trailing 3-0 to Binghamton. The Bearcats in green and white. The Minutemen in the black and red. It's been a seesaw battle, and yet it's only a 3-point margin, and that's all we've seen on the board so far. And we're starting to get up on the end of the first quarter, if you will. Unofficially, of course. The official has the time. And there's a nice feed and a run into daylight by Evan Gower. And now some phases being put together here, Craig, by UMass.
Absolutely. So we're talking about how they were going wide. In this last 2 minutes of play, they have not played off 10 once. It's all been off 9 or either pick and go. So a real tactical change from UMass here. But I tell you what, the Bearcats are answering it. Look at the double tackles from Binghamton. They're slowing the momentum down. They're really competing at the defensive ruck. And it's been a really interesting battle, this one. It's a change of tactics from UMass.
Yeah, and they're utilizing Evan Gower a little bit more. He's the grad student at number 8. And you saw Frank Belisi, the big number 3, with a crack at it. And there's an unfortunate knock, but now a good play. Let's see what happens here with Binghamton. It looks like number 13, Liam Hainu again, and almost an exact duplicate of what he had done earlier. He's got that lightning speed and quick feet and presence of mind to keep the ball in front of him with his boot rather than try to pick it up off the ground. And now his team is back in UMass territory, but a great tackle into touch. Wasn't a try. We'll see what we have here. It's going to be no, I beg your pardon. There's going to be a conference.
It's a tight one, that.
A wider shot. Here it is again, Craig.
Look at that again. Yeah, so he goes for the corner. Does he get that ball down in time? I think he might there. You see that right hand, just as he knew he was going out of touch, he put it down. And it looks like the referees have decided that's a try as well. And it all came off the back of wonderful defense. So UMass threw probably about 10 to 12 phases, all off 9, pick and goes. But the Bearcats answered it. You saw double tackles. You saw competing at the ruck. And then when UMass moved it beyond the 10, that's when the knock-on came. They pounced on the ball. They've showed they've done that before. So that's the second fly hack through. And then they kept the ball alive and they got their reward. That was a brilliant, brilliant try. And it all originated from great defense.
All right, we'll take a look at the wider angle as the kicker lines up. This is Davitt to convert. Kick is up. Does it have the distance? It clanks off the post. What an attempt by Davitt. And he's got to be frustrated, but what an attempt. But nonetheless, his team is on top 8-0.
Absolutely. And that also sends a message that do not give any penalties away in your half, because he's got the leg on the kick. So that's an interesting, if there's penalties down the line, whether you go for the kick or not. But that was a real opportunist try. But if you go back to it, it came from really solid defense. Really great play from the Bearcats. Let's see how UMass can answer it.
All right. And here's the restart from UMass. Oh, nice little dummy and a lot more space for Connor Young than he probably anticipated, the biology major out of Haverhill, Massachusetts. And now his teammates, again, with the lead, with the ball. There's Davitt. He is having himself a match so far, but unfortunately, there's Lipinski. It bounced off him, but I guess it went backwards, says the referee. So play on, and play on they do. Connor Young testing a black wall of defenders. Not getting anywhere. And he did earn a penalty, though, and it's going to be another penalty earned by the Bearcats.
Yeah, so just went off his feet there, went for the ball, but as we all know, you've got to support your weight when you're competing for that ball in the defensive ruck. Unfortunately, he lost his foot in. That means it's a penalty to Binghamton, but they've missed touch.
And here comes Binghamton, and they put the ball back up in the air. Let's see the kick chase. Well done under pressure by Binghamton, the Bearcats. I think that's that man again, Alex Stabiner, the ENVI Sciences major out of New York, New York.
Yeah,
his high school was the Academy. Sorry, Craig. His high school was the Academy for Careers in Film and Television.
Well, maybe we'll see him producing one of these shows in the future. But it was unfortunate there. The carrier just slipped as he was going. I think that's why it's only a penalty and not a yellow card, despite the high tackle. There's a lot of mitigating factors which referees look for when it comes to the high tackle. He just slipped up. There was no intent, but it was a high tackle. Safety comes first, so a penalty is the right decision.
Yeah, especially in the college game. You want to emphasize you can't go high when they are developing as players to go to that next level, right? And speaking of next level, I want to thank our next level camera crew, and Ryan Ginty for bringing this all to us. And, of course, Austin Ryan and the folks at Fairfield University for making this Liberty Conference spectacular day possible. And now we got to fight over the ball. Everybody's kind of standing around. The big guys are holding up the ball carrier. We're going to have a whistle, and the referee's going to sort it all out.
Yeah, UMass were happy with that. Atani, number 8 for Binghamton, big hard line. We saw how many yards he made on his first carry. This time the UMass defense was up to it. And what they did there, they actually tackled underneath the ball. They didn't want to bring him to ground because then that becomes a maul. And if a maul stops moving, the defensive team actually get the ball back. So wonderful tactical knowledge there from UMass to ensure that they got the ball back and they can launch their attack.
Well said, as Mr. Velez taps, puts it in. His team down 8-0. We're about 25 minutes into this match unofficially. Oh, a nice bruising run from Joe Schultz, the senior. And now back on the outside to his French teammate, Boissonneau. Oh, big pie face and slam to the ground was Evan Gower. Not treating his defender very well, not gracious at all. But now UMass trying to get back into this game, all racing down the sideline and putting the ball up is John Gross, the sophomore, but it goes out the back. And he's looking at Gross was looking at the assistant referee, and they want to have a conversation.
Yeah, it did look like, if we can see a replay, it did look like he was held back as he kicked that ball through. Once that ball's been kicked, you cannot interfere with the runner. So it's going to be really interesting to see what the referees come up with their decision right now.
We have a penalty try forthcoming.
Might be tough to give a penalty try there because there wasn't going to be a clear and obvious try because we didn't know how much the ball did run over to the dead ball line. So I think a penalty is probably the right decision right now, but possibly a yellow card for pulling him back because there was an opportunity to score there.
All right, here's Carl Pappas, the senior. Looks like he's going to kick for posts.
So this is exactly what UMass needed to get back into the game. Even if they miss, it's going to be a dropout for Binghamton. So they're going to get the ball back. But obviously they want the 3 points here. They're confident because it is on a tight angle. But they worked themselves back into the game then. It all started with hard carries around the ruck. When they decided to move the ball, they got it to the wider channels. And I like that kick through because it just puts a bit of pressure on the defense. And they might just get their rewards right now.
And remember, folks, you cannot charge a penalty goal. You can charge a conversion attempt. We had that earlier today in a match, and the kicker missed the initial kick, but was given a second chance and made the kick. So that one was great, a good kick, as far as I can tell. Yes, so it's Binghamton allowing UMass to get back on into this game, but they held them to just that penalty goal, and they were fortunate for that.
Absolutely. Now this is a big play in the game. So once you've scored points, it's important that you exit and get the territory back. So UMass are going to have to be really dialed in here so they can capitalize on the 3 points and the momentum they've just earned.
So at this point, you're just sticking to your guns. You're sticking to your game plan, right, Craig?
Yeah, absolutely. 20 minutes in, very even. You've got to stick to your DNA. You cannot go off script this late in the season. You've got to stick to what you've known, what you've practiced.
And I'm just wondering if that restart actually found some turf before it bounced into touch, and it did not. So those are one of those momentum or buzzkills, if you will, after you survive something. Now they gave the ball back.
Absolutely. So once you've conceded points, to then kick it out, that's an error there from Binghamton. So they're going to need a big scrum because, as we mentioned earlier, a midfield scrum is just such a wonderful attacking platform due to the space it's created for the attack.
Is Villas, and you can see the number 8, Evan Gower. He's just ready to rock and roll should that ball come to him. So I'm up. It's going to be Villas, and he's going to go to his back line. Wise to not pass that ball and then earned a penalty on the high tackle. So the penalties are starting to mount in this match.
Absolutely. You've got a real momentum shift now. So from those 3 points, a missed kickoff has led to a scrum, and then it's led to a penalty. Now UMass are deep in Binghamton's half. And rugby is all about momentum, and any sport is about momentum. Once you have it, you want to keep it. And if you don't have it, you've got to wrestle it back. Right now, the tide has turned, and UMass have got their tails up, and they're ready to go here.
All right, we'll see what the Bearcats can do here against the Minutemen. The Minutemen in black and red, and the Bearcats of Binghamton in the green and white hoops. And I know that Mike Delano is smiling someplace along with Dave Katz, Binghamton rugby legends, watching their team play right now and hoping that they hold on to this lead. But UMass is a formidable opponent, and they seem to be finding their stride right now. And that's taking him outside, but it might be a pick. Oh, what a play. I thought it was going to be a pick 7, perhaps. Stabner's been all over the pitch. Number 11. And he almost broke that one.
And that was a really interesting play. We've spoken about how UMass have been moving the balls to the wider channels and what that does to the defense. The defense has seen a few looks from UMass that they're moving the ball there. So the winger was like, I'm going to take my opportunity there. That was a really skillful and tactical play. Although it didn't quite come off, it was great knowledge that UMass are going to attack there. So he put himself in a position to be successful, and he was very close to doing that.
So he's been doing it all. He's been tested on kicks and not the best of passes from his teammates, and he's collected everything. And then that one, he almost ran it all the way to the house. But now we have another whistle.
Oh, absolutely. This is just a brilliant battle going on now. And just as we mentioned, that momentum swing, it's with UMass now. But if that try had went in, Binghamton would have been very happy. So this is really evenly poised.
Another great aerial view from our drone shot here at Fairfield University. Liberty Conference semifinal D1 AA. Binghamton and UMass. Boston College already advanced. They await the winner of this one next week in this National Collegiate Rugby competition. And now keeping the ball but going the wrong way are UMass. Some very aggressive counter-rucking from the wing, number 14, Connor Young. And it's going to force a knock-on and a scrum down.
So we've seen this before from the Bearcats. Defensively, they have been very strong. They have been attacking the defensive rucks. And there's a few ways to attack the defensive rucks. If the ball is there to be won and the defender's first there, you can jackal. But what you're seeing from Binghamton is they're actually counter-rucking. They're putting pressure on. They're remaining on their feet. That sucks in UMass attackers. It puts pressure on their 9. And you're going to see the reward that they get now. They get the turnover from a knock-on. That was a really, really great play from the Bearcats.
And I just love the fact that the wings are mixing it up in those rucks, counter-rucking.
Oh, yeah. They say now numbers is just for set piece. Everyone on the field has got to do all jobs, whether it's running in the 50-meter tries or where it's getting stuck into rucks. You've got to forget the number on your back unless you're in set piece.
And speaking of numbers on the back, you got Robert Davidson, the number 16, in at flanker on the blind side right now for Binghamton. So not sure about number 6, Kyle Matson. But here comes Binghamton in the meantime. They're going wide this time. There's that man, Stabner. He's had himself a match so far. Back to Davitt. He's also been a force in this match. And a penalty awarded for not rolling away. Pinged our UMass.
Yeah, so he went, we talked about the jackal, he went for the ball, but to be able to jackal the ball and to steal the ball, you have to be the first there. Referee Akira deemed that he wasn't the first there, so therefore the ruck is formed, and you can't go sniffing for that ball.
All right, in the meantime, the kick did not find touch, right? Again, I'm a little bit lost on the lines.
No, correct.
But
yep, correct.
Yeah.
The ball did not go out.
And now Binghamton with an opportunity and a counter kick. So we got a little aerial ping pong going on. but that one went directly into touch, and it's going to come back.
Yeah, the game is kind of getting a bit disjointed right now. You can see both teams are trying to move the ball into space, but the passes aren't sticking, or the defenses are actually on top. So that's where the pressure's coming from. So it's very much a game of defense right now, and it's going to be the team that can soak that pressure up in attack, find the edge, which is going to get the rewards right now.
We got unofficially about 7 minutes left in this first half. Binghamton, the Bearcats in green, on top of UMass, 8-3. UMass trying to collect the sloppiness off of that, and now it's going to be a scrum down to Binghamton.
Wonderful defensive pressure. We call that player at the back of the line out who really races to that first receiver, often known as a tail gunner. And their whole job is to get into the face of a first receiver who's catching the ball to force a mistake. That's exactly what happened for the Bearcats. So that was a great defensive play, and it's given them an opportunity to get that momentum back and launch their own attack.
As we await Mr. Michael Drum to put the ball in, taps. You got to love when you say Drum taps. But there's his Willie Otani, first-year student, taking it off the back of that scrum. And he has really been all over the pitch so far. Davitt spits it out to Berry. Berry, the senior, out of Lynbrook, New York, Malvern High School. And he plays for the Rugby New York Academy. And a fun fact, he has a crush on our president. I don't know what to make of that, but we'll leave it to you. And there's a penalty again to Binghamton. I'm just reading these things off the teleprompter, folks.
Don't always believe what you read on the teleprompter, right? Yeah. UMass there are starting to give away a few penalties, particularly at the ruck. So it's going to be interesting if referee Akira brings over the captain just to say these penalties are starting to mount up, because they could be staring down a yellow card, and that could be devastating to their chances of progressing through to the final.
All right, here's another line out. This one thrown in by Binghamton, Clayton Spaulding. And it's taken by Binghamton, crashing forward and to the ground. Drum, Davitt, Otani. Those three people keep handling the ball and do it well. But there's almost a pick by the Frenchman, Boussinot. But no go, no cigar. Binghamton maintains possession. Here comes Lipinski. It's going to take 2 and 3 jerseys to drag him down eventually. Ball presented. Another phase for Binghamton. They'd be very happy, but they turn the ball over at Velez. Takes it back for UMass. UMass staying alive in this match. There's Belisi, the senior. Another one of those stiff arms from Gower as he goes to ground eventually. And there's a kick. And let's see what happens now. A good counter kick over the head of James Sullivan, who now takes it and puts it back up in the air. Fielded well by Davitt. And he puts it back up. Will the trend continue? Yes, it does. We continue our imitation of Aussie rules football as the ball eventually trickles into touch.
And that was 50-22, I think.
I think you're right. And they're going to go for a quick line out, and going to be a try, if that's okay. And it looks okay to us. And that is going to be très bien from Andre Boussinot, the sophomore from Paris, France.
That was absolutely. That is brilliant
understanding of a rule. So it's a 50-22. So UMass get the ball back, a quick pass, and that is just a brilliant try. They know the laws of the game. So if you kick the ball from your own half and it bounces out into the 22 of the opposition half, you actually retrieve the ball. I don't think I've ever seen a quick line out from a 50-22.
Yeah, and here you go, Craig. You can take us through this.
So we talk about the 50-22. He's in his own half. So if the ball bounces and then goes into the opposition's 22 in touch, that's exactly what happened there. UMass get the ball back. But you can see how quick they are. The chase is there. He's looking for the option. And this quick line out, oh, that was wonderful. That is just a seriously, seriously good bit of play.
Two things I'm wondering about, Craig. I'm wondering if Eli Cuniff, the number 15 for Binghamton, A, thought the white line was the touch line, and then B, didn't understand that there could be a quick tap off of that 50-22 because he just put his fist up in the air and turned around.
Yeah, he definitely switched off there. So if you're going to learn a lesson, you may as well do it on live TV. Yeah, that was a tough one, but I think we should celebrate UMass's play. That was brilliant.
Yeah, the presence of mind on both parties that were involved in that for the try for UMass was just very, very heady stuff. And there's a penalty now. Unfortunately, you got these swings and the momentum as UMass takes the lead for the first time. But now, with the time winding down in the half, Binghamton perhaps with an opportunity to get some points before both teams go into the shed as Davitt kicks into touch.
We call that one a coach killer. So you've just got an amazing try. You've just got the points. And then from that kickoff, we spoke about it earlier, from that kickoff, a mistake. And it just brings the opposition straight back into the game. So the coach will not be happy if they concede points here off the back of that kickoff.
And the ball is taken by Binghamton in the hands of Davitt. Again, crashing the quick line speed in defense almost causes another turnover from UMass, but Binghamton holds on to the ball. In the name of number 10, Mr. Michael Davitt. Dug out of the back. Here's Otani. Now Binghamton looking to get into potential drop goal territory, perhaps, for Davitt. He's shown he can kick well. He didn't do it there. Otani, as this is probably going to be the last play other than a penalty of the first half. Binghamton still trying to drive, trying to get down to the ground, so it's a tackle. Not yet. Some of those big boys from UMass holding up everybody. And now it's a knock-on, and well done by UMass. Wow, this has been a tale of two different teams for UMass so far.
It really is, and that's the second time they've won the ball back from holding the tackler up, tackling under the ball. And they've done their homework. They can see number 8 for the Bearcats. Otani is a really good runner. He's a really good pressure, and he's a go-to player for the Bearcats. And now what UMass have started to do, they're numbering up on him. So he's not finding the space that he had initially in the early stages of this game. And UMass have done their homework. They've stopped him. And it'd be interesting to see here if they get the ball off the field as quickly as possible and go out with a 10-8 lead.
As Villa's trying to dig it out, but it's now lost. Oh, it's going to be a penalty to Binghamton. And I've got to say, just kick the points. Go for the points. Don't do anything else. And that's exactly what's going to happen. I thought one of those kids was going to pick up the quick tap, give us all gray hair.
Yeah, this is a really, really evenly contested match. All UMass had to do there was secure their own scrum, and they have been doing it the whole half, and kick the ball out. That would have made it dead, and they would have got into half time. Now they're staring down the face of going in slightly behind. And I tell you what, we've got a game on our hands here.
All right, so now Davitt, who has shown he is capable with the foot, has a makeable kick to put his team back in front. The kick is up, and the kick is just wide of the posts. A stunning miss after seeing the successful kicks and a talent of Michael Davitt, Craig. So his team is not going to take the lead, and they're going to go into the locker room at halftime down by 2. What are your observations so far?
Well, it's a tight one there between UMass and Binghamton. It's a game so far dictated by the defense. The defenses have really shone. Hence, you saw that kicking battle, what was going on before, because if you can't go through them and you can't go around them, you've got to start going over them. So you'll start to see some kicking in the second half, and then the game might break up a little bit more. But really great contest we have here.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of everything in that first half, and we're looking forward to the second half. Don't go away. We'll be back on this Next Level Rugby production of National Collegiate Rugby's Liberty Conference D1AA semifinals. Don't go away. We'll be back in a flash. Hey, everybody, and we're back, at Fairfield University for this Liberty Conference D1AA semifinal between UMass and Binghamton, and we have the elephant in the room, or the gorilla in the room, and we had the wrong roster. I had the wrong roster. I was reading Stony Brook's roster instead of UMass's roster, and we're just going to own it and move on and correct as we go. And it's on me. There's a lot of moving parts here, so apologies, but we'll get it right in the second half. It's better late than never, right? But here's Binghamton taking the restart. UMass with a 10-8 lead. And UMass in the black and red. Binghamton in the green and white. There's Davitt, who's had a great first half for Binghamton. And unfortunately, he missed that kick as we ended our first half for his Bearcat teammates. So UMass took their first lead of the match and held on to it. And keep in mind, the white line is not the touch line. It's the black line. And keep in mind that the goalposts are not on the try line. They are on the dead ball line because this is a football field configuration. And I just want to welcome my colleague back in, Mr. Craig Wilson, the contact coach.
Yeah, it was good exit there from Binghamton, and wonderful clearance kick from UMass. Under real pressure, that was a bouncing ball, but he got his right foot to it, and he got it all the way back up to halfway. So that was a great exit. Again, defenses are seeming to be on top right now.
All right, here come Binghamton again. Davitt with a pass found eventually by his outside center, Liam Hinu, who has had a great match so far, and so has this man, number 11, Alex Stabiner. He's been all over the pitch and under duress and done well for Binghamton. And there's a whistle.
Just as I said, that the defenses were on top. UMass missed their first 4 or 5 tackles of the game, and that allows the Bearcats to get deep into their half. But to be fair, it was a great covering tackle, last-ditch tackle to stop that and also win back the line out. So it's all about the exit now and just doing the simple things really well to get UMass some territory.
All right, the line out to UMass. Jack McDermott, Joel Delgado, and Mike Troiano up front for the Minutemen, and it's spoiled is the line out and taken by Binghamton. And that's a big play. And here comes number 4, Jordan Lipinski, barreling forward for the Bearcats. 10-8, UMass on top. They trailed much of the match, but fought back. Binghamton had a chance to take the lead back at halftime on a penalty goal, and it wasn't made, so now we have a 2-point match. The winner of this one gets to go on and play Boston College, the other semifinal winner, next weekend. So lots of stuff going on in this Liberty Conference and National Collegiate Rugby. There's Lipinski again, the big fella, taking a couple of tacklers to bring him down. And why not just keep going to him? But there's a ball outside. It's turned over. It's knocked on. A knock-on advantage being played. And there's the whistle. It'll be a scrum down to UMass.
Yeah, UMass are going to be really happy with that defensive set. So they had a line out 5 meters out from our own line, arguably the worst place to be thrown in the line out because the jeopardy is so high. But they got their defensive set in position. They were making their tackles. They were realigned. And Binghamton were going side to side, but we didn't really make any ground. And then that forced a turnover. UMass gets an opportunity to exit. And let's see how they go about this.
All right, here's the put in by Gabe Silva, the number 9. And again, apologies for the mix-up on the roster names to everybody out there. We don't try to do that. Every now and then it happens. No excuses. But Silva, the junior, with the tap in. He is being checked by Drum. And a big push from that Bearcat scrum. But the Minutemen hold on to possession, and dancing into space is number 15, Max Colgan. Ball is spilled, however, and turned over in the knock-on. A knock advantage being played, none gained. It'll be a scrum down to Binghamton.
There's good pressure there from Binghamton. UMass looked like they were finding little edges. And what I'm really going to be interested to see is how fatigue starts to play a factor in this game. So the defenses have been on top so far, but I've got a sense just looking at the last couple of plays that a few holes are starting to be created. So anticipate a few line breaks to come as fatigue sets in for both teams.
Indeed. And, these players have been up and down. It's been a frenetically paced match so far. So who's going to have the stamina? Who's going to have enough in the gas tank as we head into the later stages of this match? There's a dummy on the crash. Here comes from the outside. That's number 14. A car. He's had a good match. There's the number 8 for UMass. There's a kick downfield taken by Binghamton. With a counterattack and a lot of space and a lot of room to run is number 15, Eli Cuniff. Almost loses his jersey in the process, but keeps that and the ball. He's stabbing her. Looks to get it back, and it's batted up in the air and into the arms of Gabe Silva. And there's a whistle. We're going to go back to the original knock-on advantage, and it'll be a scrum down to UMass.
Yeah, that's a really good example of how a clearance kick can just return the pressure on. Even though the Bearcats fielded the kick from UMass, they got the ball. It was a big, strong run, but they only got to halfway, and then you can reset the defense. So it's a good example of tactical kicking right there. And UMass are getting their rewards from those kicks because now they're getting an opportunity to launch their own attack.
Indeed. 2-point match. 46 minutes or so, 47 minutes or so gone by in it. We have a whistle, referee explaining what he needs to see happen as the front rows come together. Always important at this level of rugby, Craig.
Yes, absolutely. I was just looking at, I always try and check out body language. Just from the UMass forwards there, they're big, big men. They had hands on hips. So that's why I think this fatigue factor is going to start setting in soon. But they've got their job to do, and that's pushing this scrum, and they're about to do it right now.
And they are being pushed back, but they maintain possession, and that's the key. And now maybe a little bit of a counterattack. There's a nice pass from Derek Tang to his wing, number 11, Robert Conklin. Again, it's that black line along the side for the touchline or the out-of-bounds line. It's not the white one, but it's turned over, and here comes Binghamton. There's a big run from Kevin Vera in contact. And his front row mate, Clayton Spalding, the senior, English major, he has a go with it. Here's Davitt putting some pressure on the defense. He fights his way to the turf, presents it, drum, picks it up. Nice little burst, and there's Otani looking for some support, and he gets it. So now multiple phases from Binghamton, trailing 2 points, 10-8. UMass on top. Nice look back inside. Nice quickness from Connor Young. Coming in from the wing. And there's going to be a penalty earned by Binghamton.
Yeah, Connor Young on the wing. He is everywhere. He's just not staying on his right wing. He's on the left. He's on the right. He's down the middle. Keep an eye out for Binghamton's winger, Connor Young. He has been really lively this last few minutes.
All right, there's a kick down the field. So it'll be a line out to Binghamton. You know, we've had a lot of very interesting results today. We had AIC and Brown battling before Brown finally took control of the game late in the D1 championship match. Both of those teams should be formidable in Houston. But we also had a relegation match early in the morning. Colgate took it to University of Buffalo, and University of Buffalo will be relegated, which I think is a great aspect of this competition. As that line out will have to be redone. Craig, what's going on down there on that pitch?
Yeah, so it looks like we talk about this fatigue. You can see a lot of hands on hips. The accuracy is just starting to go down a little bit, and that's given us an exciting game. This lineout is going to be absolutely crucial if they can execute.
All right, Spalding's throw is deflected into the waiting arms of a Binghamton ball carrier, and now they are in UMass territory, fighting for every foot. Liam Hainu, who's in the argument about man of the match so far, player of the match so far for Binghamton. And here they come again, the Bearcats. Ball taken out of the back of the scrum by Drum. Spalding has it knocked away in contact, perhaps. Play on, says the referee. There's a whistle. No, it's going to be a knock on in the tackle by the defender, so it will be a scrum down to Binghamton.
Yeah, so the Bearcats are seeming to lose their structure right now. Once that ball moves outside of 10, they don't have the same intensity onto the ball that they did in the first half. And that's stunting their attack a little bit. However, you mentioned you've got Hainu there at number 13. He looks really, really dangerous, along with Connor Young for the Bearcats. Keep an eye on them. But UMass, interestingly, they're a strong sevens program. And I'm really going to be looking to see how that strong sevens DNA manifests when we go into this last 20 and 10 minutes, because they might thrive in the open spaces.
Exactly. And, I mentioned the correction on the front row names, but we've also got Christian Manichikian and Jack Johnson at locks, and Taylor Bond, Connolly Mullen, and Arthur Daring as your back row players. We'll get to the rest for the UMass Minutemen, but there's a knock-on. Oh, an unfortunate knock-on, but a penalty awarded anyway to Binghamton, or it's just going to be a knock-on and a scrum down. Beg your pardon.
Yeah, once again, the defensive pressure, particularly in the tackle, there's been a lot of knock-ons, there's been a lot of skill set errors. And sometimes that's the best way to defend. You don't really have to make a tackle. You just need to have your organization right defensively. And if you have good organization, that also leads to good line speed. Line speed is sometimes enough just to get into the attacker's eyes. They knock the ball on, or they don't pass it as accurately as they want. And that's when you can get a turnover. And it's exactly what happened there. So sometimes it's not all about the big hits or the big tackles to get the turnover. It's the subtle things, particularly when you look at defense, that have a big impact on a game.
All right, as some players are getting attention on the pitch, I want to go through the 9 for UMass. Gabe Silva, 10, John McGoey, 11, Robert Conklin, 12, Will Crowley, 13, Derek Tang, 14, Ibrahim Akar, and number 15, Max Conglin. With the reserves, Evan Rockwell at 16, Jason Tribandis at 17, Noah Clark at 18, Ben Greer at 19, Matt Mahood at 20. He's off the bench, and you had mentioned him earlier. Gabe LeBoy, 21, David Manokian at 22, and Kadeem Fimister at 23. As we get set for this scrum down, and in just a 2-point match, Craig.
Yeah, this is really, really tight. And with mistakes starting to increase, it's all about what team can play in that transition zone. So when they get a defensive error and they've won the error, how can they quickly play? Right now, the scrums have been blown quite quickly, but I think that could be a good attacking opportunity moving forward.
All right, referee warning Binghamton to stay back on defense. Here come UMass. And there's that try scorer, an electric try scorer, number 14 of UMass, Akar.
Yeah, Kai, he's a good player. I've seen him around for the last few years. He's a really wonderful player, and to score that try, it just shows you what the type of player he is. Brilliant UMass player there, and he's a heartbeat of their team.
Yeah, if you missed it earlier, it was a 50-22 play where they did a quick line out, caught the defenders from Binghamton asleep, and scored a stunning try. Just a heady, smart play and great finish. As number 2, Joel Delgado throws it in for UMass. And it's taken, and not easily though, by UMass. Good defensive contest from the Bearcats. And that might be hands in there and a penalty awarded to Binghamton. Interesting.
No team really gaining the ascendancy, both at the set piece. As you said, that was a scrappy line out. It'd be interesting to see how the Bearcats line out goes here if they make touch. And just in attack, they're not really got cohesiveness on either side right now. So this game is really there for the taking. If we just need one player just to put their hand up, make that big line break, and it could be the big difference between winning or losing.
All right, here's Clayton Spaulding with the line out, the English and PPL major out of Crown Point, New York. Ticonderoga High School now is a foot race. Binghamton trying to get there first. That was Stabinger. He didn't get it, but his teammates were back. But it might have been a knock-on after he got there, so it might be a scrum down to UMass. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and I mentioned at the start of the show, UMass, their kicking game is crucial. We've already spoken about that amazing try they scored in the first half from the 50-22 in a quick line out. They've got a real attacking opportunity here, and it all came from a kick. So we mentioned earlier about the set piece not functioning for both teams. It was an overthrow, real quick thinking to get that ball quickly kicked into the backfield, because remember, Binghamton was set up to attack, not defend. So they put the pressure on, they've got the knock on, and I don't think there's been a better attacking opportunity in the game for UMass than what we're seeing right now.
All right, here's the tap and put in by number 15, Max Colgan, stepping up to the scrum half position. And you got some subs in for both squads. Well, get those. That's a try, diving across the try for UMass. And who is it at the bottom of that pile? Well, wow, number 15, right. Coughlin has just moved into scrum half, and he wastes no time getting into the try zone.
And it's just a perfect example of playing territory, and then just keeping that ball alive. Although they didn't score in the first phase, it was that quick play from Colgan to understand where that space was, and then they get the dot down. That very efficient rugby from UMass.
Wow. And I think Matt Mahood, who you had spoken about pregame, is also in at number 20. And now Coughlin will try to convert his own try. Or Colgan, I beg your pardon. He's from Dublin, Ireland, and played at Gonzaga High School. So Coughlin converts his own try, or Colgan converts his own try. I'll get it right one of these times. Colgan converts his own try, and now UMass looking to get a sprint away, actually, from Binghamton, 17-8. And I say sprint away because we haven't had a lot of offense here.
No, it's all about these little micro moments, and this is one coming right up. This restart. Whoever retains this ball is going to go a long way to winning this game. Little moments really add up. Let's see how UMass can exit.
All right, the restart taken by UMass. And they have just, been steady. It looked like they were getting dominated here and there in spurts, but they have held on. And when they've had an opportunity, they have taken full advantage of it. As that ball trickles into touch, here comes a quick line out and a counter. Here comes Davitt, puts the ball up, but it goes right into the hands of DeHaring as he's tackled into touch. So it'll be a line out, or it's going to go back. It was playing the advantage on the penalty were Binghamton.
Yeah, so from a UMass point of view, really interesting to look at the 9-10 combination, both from Dublin Ireland. Okay, so they've been brought up with the game, they understand the game, and you're going to see a lot more kicking now, particularly with Matt Mahood in at 10. He's a really talented kicker. I'm going to anticipate he's going to be playing territory, turning Binghamton around, make them play out. Because as you said, defenses are winning right now, so it's going to be tough to break down these defenses. So kicking game is going to be key.
And I love Mahood's high school, the King's Hospital in Dublin, Ireland. That's the name of his high school. Rugby team, I should say. That's an interesting choice of a name. But anyway, there's a knock on, and it's going to be a turnover. Unfortunately for the Minutemen, it's going to go to the Bearcats.
Yeah, just pressure from the midfield defense there. Talking about that line speed, as we mentioned earlier, just the line speed to get in the eye line of the catcher. That is such an important tool in a defensive weapon because it allows you to just put that pressure on, it forces a mistake, and it kills that momentum. So you can be really good defensively without even making a tackle, and that was a prime example of it there from the Binghamton Bearcats.
And something to keep an eye on, Arthur DeHaring is limping a little bit, the number 8 for UMass. We'll keep an eye on him because he is a key component of that Minuteman attack. But there's a little squib kick taken. And here comes a car with that electric speed, opening up the field for his teammates. Wise to take it. Now it's a little bit sloppy and turned over. Binghamton, fortuitous turnover, certainly, as they are trailing 17-8 and need possession and the ball. There's a nice run from Otani on a good tackle from Mahood in the open field, but Otani with some key meters gained, and now a quick tap off the penalty. Lipinski rumbling, tumbling toward the try line. And it's an advantage again being played by Binghamton. And there's going to be a whistle. Here's a penalty. Let's see what they do.
Well, that all came from power play. That was just go forward as quickly as you can. Matt Mahood thought he had the turnover on the jackal. Referee deemed that he wasn't there or holding his weight. So he was off his feet. That was over penalty. And really quick thinking there from Lipinski just to keep the momentum, drew the extra 10 meters because UMass didn't get back on side. Now they have a throw in about 7 or 8 meters out. This is a huge attacking opportunity from Binghamton, and they would not want to waste this.
Yeah, we've got some reserves coming in. You've got Kadeem Feimister. You've got, looks like number 25 coming in as well. We don't have his name on this roster, unfortunately. But there is the line out, and it's taken by Binghamton. Binghamton down 17-8 in the green and white. The Minutemen, UMass, with the lead. We're into our final quarter. We're about unofficially 17, 18 minutes left in this one. The winner goes on to play against Boston College, and there's a penalty again awarded. And again, you're in that territory. If repeated penalties are happening, you might get a yellow or a red. And you don't want that if you're UMass right now, Craig.
Yeah, no, you totally no yellow cards right now. This is a good decision from Binghamton not to go for the line out, the pick and go, and try and smash their way through.
There's Otani.
There's that maul we've been speaking about. UMass are really trying to get under the ball, and they've even ripped it back.
Oh, wow. That was a pilch for the ages by Arthur DeHaring. But let's see what the whistle is. And it's going to be a penalty awarded to UMass. They withstand the onslaught and get the ball back.
They really do. The defense for UMass is really, really up this second half. And I love what they're doing. They're trying to get underneath the attackers from the Binghamton Bearcats, particularly their taller boys. And you saw there how they held them up for the maul. But even better, they managed to rip it,
break away, and that's where they forced that penalty. So UMass's defense has been absolutely brilliant in this half, and they need to keep it up. Binghamton now, with 15 minutes left on the clock, they need to start thinking slightly differently, because going right down the middle hasn't really been working for them this second half.
And that was, again, number 8, Arthur de Herring, out of Belgium, and he went to Walt Whitman High School. What's not to love about that? As a player gets some attention and the others water down, we are now about 15 minutes away from this one being concluded, and the opportunity to go face the Boston College Eagles in the D1 AA Championship, Liberty Conference Championship. And what do you do right now if you're the coach of Binghamton? What are you changing, or are you changing anything?
Well, it's a tough one, because you need to. You're not getting much success through the middle, but their strength is with Connor Young on the wing, and you've got Haynew at number 13. They're real live wire players for the Bearcats. So if I was the coach right now, I'd be like, get the ball in their hands, particularly as well number 8, Atani. Try and get boys running off him, because they are your 3 dominant players, and they can make something happen from absolutely nothing. So get the ball in the hands of the best players.
You know, number 4, Jordan Lipinski, has had some big carries for Binghamton. Oh, there's a nice take, but it's not going to be straight. So it's going to be a scrum down to Binghamton. And that's not what you wanted if you are UMass. Also in now is number 17, Jason Trabandis for UMass. And on the other side, you've got... Sorry, go ahead, Craig.
Yeah, well, it's difficult to see in the comfort of our own homes, but there's a bit of a wind that's creeped up now. Take a look at the flags when you manage to see it in the wider view. So that's why UMass aren't making much ground on these kicks anymore, because the wind's picked up. That's definitely a good sign for the Bearcats.
Absolutely. And another sub for Binghamton is Ian Reicher in at number 20. Reicher, the sophomore. And a lot of these seniors, they want to go out, they want to get this win, they want to go on and play Boston College, right? You want to get in that match. Both sides have seniors.
100%. This is all or nothing now as you enter the last 12 to 13 minutes. If you know this is your potential last game at 15s and for your team, you are just leaving everything out there. And so it's going to be interesting to see who wants it more in these next 15 minutes, because it's really tight right now.
Also in is number 21 for UMass, Gabe LeBoy, nicknamed Jamba Juice. And he's got that great hair that I am so jealous of, as the ball is now trickling into touch. Little confusion as to who may get it. Different players pointing different ways. We're at a critical juncture, as the clock is not friendly for Binghamton, and it could be very friendly for UMass, who have withstood basically everything the Bearcats have thrown at them.
Absolutely. And we spoke about earlier about UMass being a pretty seasoned sevens team. And you can see that coming to fruition on their push defense. Some people call it drift. Just essentially pushing the opposition to the wider channels. And they're really maintaining their connection defensively. And that's an art of sevens. And that's why Binghamton are not finding a lot of love in those wider channels right now. And it must be starting to get a bit frustrating for them.
Yeah, you just hit the nail on the head with that word frustration, because Binghamton, if they can't pull this one out, they're going to be frustrated. They had opportunities early to maybe get points where they just didn't get them, and they were opportunistic right at the outset of the game. As you said, the way they started was very, very good, very good, and then they kind of got away from that. But you got to credit UMass for staying with it, sticking to their guns, and making the adjustments that they needed to make.
Absolutely. It came down to those two moments right now from the kicks. I do think there's a lot more to come in these last 10 minutes. I think we're gonna see some real action and some pressure on, but it's coming down to the stage where the next score, it sounds trivial, but the next score for either team is absolutely vital. If Binghamton can get themselves on the scoreboard, that puts UMass under pressure. If UMass get themselves 2 scores away, you can't see them losing it from there. So whoever's going to score next has got a real big part to play on where this victory goes.
There's the tap. Drum goes and takes it back himself. Davitt with a dummy. Gets it to his back line. There's Hanyu. And there's a penalty. And here's a big decision for Binghamton, Craig.
It sure is. Do you take the 3 points or do you go for the line out? What hasn't really been functioning? You've also got tap and go or scrum option. It looks like they're going to go for the line out. They're going completely for it. So good luck to them. Let's see how they do it.
I would have taken the points.
Yeah, if you think about there and you think about his kicks previously, get that score up to 11, then you just need a converted try. But credit to them, they've went for the line out. They're going for double top, and they'll be hoping from the Bearcats' point of view that they can achieve success in this line out. It has been a little bit ropey. Let's see how they go.
And they are very fortunate to maintain possession on that line out. Here's Otani. Otani, does he have enough? Does he have the support? Here's a sea of green and white, but that black wall of UMass keeping them out. Davitt looking on the outside. They just need to keep the ball, does Binghamton. Not do too much because you need possession. There's Otani again. He got them down there. Can he get them in? No.
I think
great defense, and we're going. It looks like it is a try.
I tell you what, though, I feel for Otani there. He was over the line twice, but because of the nuances of the different lines of a multi-sport field, he didn't realize. He could have scored. He could have scored twice there. So if we look back at the replay,
he's looking at the posts, right?
Yeah, and he's looking at that thick white line. So if we look here, that's the line. He just had to put it down there. He didn't realize. Man. But he got it down, thankfully for Otani, because he did some great things. That would have been tough. But we talked about that next score. It goes to the Bearcats, and I tell you what a finish we've got here.
Oh boy, I am just thoroughly confused, and I can't imagine how he must feel on the pitch. Elation, frustration, all at the same time.
That would have been a tough one. That would have been a tough one if he didn't realize he was over the try line, but it's all doesn't matter now.
All right, so now Binghamton will receive the kick, the restart. Well, somebody should find that out. In the meantime, we've got Binghamton barreling forward. Oh, here comes Binghamton again. They are on fire. They've got some extra pep in their step. On the outside, Connor Young had himself a good match. There's Davitt. He's been in the thick of things all night. But the ball is countered by a car. There's Young. And right now, there's a ball trickling down into touch again. It's a 2-point match, Craig. And hold on to your hats. We're going into the final moments.
Exactly. Those two teams, it's going to be the teams who's brave now, not the team who doesn't want to lose. It's going to be the team who really wants to go out and win that game. And what does that look like? That's your hard running, that's moving the ball into space and not shelling up and just trying to play really, really rigid rugby. The team who wins here is going to be the bravest team.
All right, here's the line out. And it might not have gone in straight, but play on, says the referee. Actually, it's going to be a scrum down to Binghamton. Right, so I don't think that went in straight. Is that accurate?
Looks like that's the call. Binghamton's asked for the scrum.
Oh, boy. We're about unofficially just over 5 minutes left in this match. It's a 2-point match. UMass on top of Binghamton. 17-15 in this D1 AA semifinal. Liberty Conference. The winner plays Boston College. And now it's going to be a free kick awarded to UMass. Unbelievable. No, it's a penalty. I beg your pardon. Wow.
Yeah, that's a big call this late in the game. And you can see here that they're going to take their time. They're going to just start killing the time on the clock. They'll be probably pulling their socks up, all the little tricks, just to make sure that every second is eked out here. But the lineouts for both teams have not been the most sturdy. So UMass are going to be hoping that when they need it most, their lineout functions. We're about to find out.
All right. This is such an unbelievable finish to such a great day of rugby. Liberty Conference playoffs, NCR, National Collegiate Rugby, here at spectacular Fairfield University. Here's the line out, a pivotal line out, and it's taken by UMass, but a knock on in the pass, and it's going to be a scrum down to Binghamton. That was an impossible pass to handle for the big man.
Yeah, just when you needed your accuracy the most, it deserted you. That was a tough one, but look, if you're looking at it in terms of globally, they're still, Binghamton are deep in their own half. So they're going to have to try and play this ball out. So it's not all lost for UMass, but Binghamton will be thankful they've got an opportunity to really launch their attack with the last 3 minutes approaching.
Okay, so 17-15. A penalty goal can win it for Binghamton. Meanwhile, UMass just wants to play good defense, keep Binghamton in their own end, or try to get them to give the ball away. And Binghamton has to fight their way out because the last thing they want to do is turn possession over. You got that catch-22 where it's going to take forever if you're just going to take 2 meters at a time. And here goes that kick. Davitt puts it in the air. Where's the kick, Chase? Oh, it's kind of botched. It didn't go backwards, or did it? It's going to be a knock-on and a scrum down to Binghamton.
That's a big play there. First of all, UMass, a big shout out to number 13, Derek Tang. His spot tackle there to stop that Binghamton attack was brilliant. But fair play, Davitt got that ball, he kicked it down, he forced the skill set error from a usually very reliable Akar. And now we talk about that midfield scrum in the middle of the pitch. Now there's a real opportunity for Binghamton to attack. They just need cool heads here. They don't need to force it. Cool heads, play their systems, and they're going to give themselves a real opportunity here. Because remember, all you need is a penalty.
Okay, here we go. Here comes Binghamton going the short side. Wow, this is as tense as it can be. 2 teams separated by but 2 points. There's Trent Weskler.
UMass cannot give away any penalties now.
Otani with a nice keep catch of that low pass and then able to dish it off all in one motion. Very athletic play. There's number 5, Daniel Ahern. Binghamton plodding forward. Drum. Davitt. Iforo. Drum again. Davitt puts it on the ground, and he gets another kickoff. Here's a car, but what's the width? It's going to be, looks like offside. Or no, it's a choice of where they want the ball, and really, this could be the penalty kick that wins it.
Wow, UMass's defense was fantastic there. They pushed them back 20 yards, and then it was just a speculative kick through from Davitt. And from 2 kicks, he's making things happen. He drew the offside penalty. Now, entering the last 30 seconds, this is a pressure kick. Very exciting for the whole conference.
And Mike Davitt had one before halftime, but let's see if he can get this one. The Rye, New York native. If we can go wide on this shot. And the kick is up. And the flags go up. And the kick is good. That could be the kick of the day right there. Mike Davitt puts his team on top by a point. And oh my goodness, have we got a finish here, Craig?
Now check out UMass. This is going to be a 7-style kickoff. It's going to go short. It's going to go barely the distance. They're going to try and get men under it. Here is a huge moment in this game coming up. There's the height. Let's see what happens.
It's taken under duress by Binghamton. They did what they had to do. Is this match over? Not yet. Can Binghamton turn the ball back over? If they get a penalty, they're in striking distance.
Do they know how long's left on the clock?
You just have to go to ground every single time here.
If I was a 9, I'll be asking the referee, how long, because that dictates everything you're going to do.
You just got to keep recycling your big fellas and take two meters, go to the ground. Forget those passes. Oh.
Yeah.
I can't take it.
Too risky.
I can't take it.
Way pick and go. This is way too risky, but UMass are going for it.
And another kick downfield. And it's botched again, but held. Oh, here's a car. He puts the ball up. Oh, what a play there by Cuniff.
Surely that's time.
How much time is left in this one? We are not sure. But wow, is this a finish for the ages? These two teams. You hate to say it, but you hate to see one of these teams not win. And there's the kick that might go into touch. And it is in touch. And is that it?
It
No.
looks like there's still time.
There's still time. And oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Wow.
People on the edge of their seats, and it's batted down. That has to be a knock-on. I don't know. Yeah, Binghamton with the ball now. There's Trent Weskler. He's got it. He takes it to turf. Here's Lipinski. He's been all over the place all game long. And I got to ask you while you're watching this, who's your man of the match, Craig? No pressure.
Oh, I'm so involved in this game right now. I'll come back to me in 1 minute because this is huge context right now, and it's all about these pick and goes. Who's got the discipline to see it out? UMass are going to throw everything at these rucks. Oh, this is intense.
Oh, and it's a penalty awarded to UMass. Oh man.
Oh, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing.
Max Colgan calling for the tee.
And I tell you what, if this kick goes over, I know who the man of the match is going to be.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, what a match. And what heartbreak for one of these teams right now. If you're UMass and you don't make the kick, heartbreak. If you do make the kick, heartbreak for Binghamton.
Yeah, it's almost one of those classics where a tie would have sufficed, but over here in America, ties don't exist. This is all about who can go through to the championship final.
Absolutely. Let's get that wide shot. Kick is up, and the kick is no good. It is no good. Is that time? You'd think it was, and it is. Binghamton survive. Oh, my goodness. What an ending to this match. Gutted. Max Colgan, but wow, he's got to hold his head up high. What a match. What a finish. Craig, give us your player of the match and your final thoughts.
It's got to go to the try scorer. He's running hard all day. Number 8, William Atani. Fantastic effort to get his team over the line for that crucial try. But credit to both teams. They really were a credit to the conference and how they played the game. And for it to be 10:35 p.m. and we're still talking about a last play of the game. Brilliant.
Arguably our most exciting match of the day to end an exciting day of rugby in the United States, specifically here in Fairfield University in Connecticut. And I want to thank you, sir, for making my job a lot easier and a lot of fun. Mr. Craig Wilson, the contact coach. Thanks to Next Level Rugby for their production team. Thanks to Fairfield University. What a day. And thanks to NCR, National Collegiate Rugby, and the Liberty Conference. We will see you next time.